Time is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here are your hosts, the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin and Brett Stotts Norsworthy.
How do you turn this thing on? It's been so long. Are we on? I'm not sure. Oh, good. Thank you. It is nice to be back. What a gorgeous day it is. Crazy day. It's National Championship Monday, one of my favorite weeks of the year. We go from wherever the championship game is in the Final Four to Augusta National in just a few days. It's a lot of fun, that is for sure. This is a pretty good stretch of days. Grizzlies with an upset of Philly. They had 30 assists again. How about that? That was nice. That's a great way to get a road trip going. They got 3 more tough games this week. That is for sure. We are going to be saying goodbye to Danielle Lerner. Just found out a little while ago that she's on her way to the Houston Chronicle. What a gig. This young lady, she's only 27 years old. She's going to be doing the basically takeouts. Really in-depth articles. I think they're called Enterprise. In-depth articles without the pressure of a deadline, which is terrific for the Houston Astros and the Houston Rockets. Couldn't be more happy for a young lady who did just a spectacular job while she was in Memphis. We are saying hello again to Ted Butler. We're going to talk Augusta in a little bit, in about 40 minutes, 45 minutes or so. With, less than that, about 30 minutes or so. Our friend Ted Butler, the best teacher in all of Memphis, he is back, and we will talk Augusta National with him. And I got to wonder, is there going to be a reunion of the Lawson brothers? Could they be coming back? There's lots of stuff going on in the portal. It is a busy day here in Memphis. I suspect where Brett Norsworthy is, a busy day in Forest City, Arkansas. Good afternoon, Brett.
Good afternoon, Dave. Glad you're back and glad to have the national championship game tonight. And I join you in really enjoying it being Masters Week when it's supposed to be Masters Week. Dustin Johnson didn't get to wear that green jacket long.
No.
He'll get to keep it another year if he goes back to back, though.
That could happen. I'll be honest, I was looking at odds of this whole thing, and somebody had called me and said, well, they're gonna put a little group thing together, and what do I think about all of this? And the guys that I was most thinking about in all of this are the ones that are, according to the odds, the real favorites in all of this. The biggest favorite by Vegas, or at least the one that I got, is DJ, 9-1 to repeat. Jordan Spieth, who's been hot. I just don't see it. But he's second at 10-1. Then Bryson DeChambeau and Justin Thomas at 11-1. I really like Thomas here. How about the new father, John Rahm? He's 12-1. Rory's 18-1. Those are the guys, aren't they, that would come to the top of your mind?
Yeah, that's the familiar names, and we do picks on Wednesday at 4 o'clock with John Goin from Timber Trust. We will go in order as we finished last year, so that means John, the winner, and the guest will go first. Drew will go second, you'll go third, and I'll go fourth. So I don't have a prayer at getting who I want, and that would be Dustin Johnson to repeat or Justin Thomas to win his first Masters. So I will get neither one of those. They both will be long gone by the time it gets around to me at fourth. And now for shock pick, World Golf Ranking 50 and up, no longer. We won't get Jordan Spieth because he went from 52 to way up there this week.
Could you believe it was 3.5 years since Jordan Spieth had won?
I did, Dave, and it got painstaking, and it brought in some, a lot of questions. And I thought today in his media availability at Augusta National, I mean, when people want to watch what composure and just a really sharp, honest, candid, no excuse human sounds like, it was Jordan Spieth there today. He said, he won so much so early that about anything other than keeping up that pace would appear to be a dip. But he said, yeah, it was a dip, no question about it. But never. And he was asked, did he ever think about changing out caddies with Michael Greller or teachers? He said, never entered my mind. He said, it was on me. He said, I'm the one swinging the club.
I really appreciate that. And I'm sure you were watching yesterday when I thought, did the most mature thing, the exact right thing. And even Nota Begay said, that is definitely the right call. On his second shot on the par 5, 18, where he could go for the green, and he was putting bogey into play. I mean, you could put disaster into play. You'd have to hit a really bad shot to go in the water. But most of those guys were missing a long left like Charlie Hoffman did. So he could have put that in play and probably done no worse than bogey, and he had a 2-stroke lead. He did the sensible thing. He hit an 8-iron. I'm thinking he's going to aim right in the middle.
He put cash in his pocket.
Oh, my God. He hit that so bad, I thought, he's choking. I really did. I said, he has been in all these tournaments. He's just not been able to pull the trigger and win it. He's not been good on Sundays in this time. Look at that. He is going to mess this whole thing up. Now he's going to hit it in the water with his third. And he hit a perfect shot. I was really happy for him. I kind of like Charlie Hoffman.
Good guy.
But
I like Charlie Hoffman. We've watched Jordan Spieth grow up. When I see Jordan Spieth, you know who I think of? The late, great Phil Cannon.
Yeah.
And Phil rolled the dice one year with one of those very controversial sponsors exemptions. Right. Everybody's least favorite thing about running a tournament are the stinking sponsors exemptions.
I know.
Because everybody that owns clubs thinks they should get one near and far, and he did with Jordan Spieth. But I remember 2 years ago at the inaugural associated with the World Golf Classic at the WGC FESJI, and it was Tuesday, Rendezvous on the Range Day, and it was the last one our friend Nick Virgos was able to be at.
Right.
And I got food at about the same time as Jordan Spieth did. And I said, would you like to sit with us? He said, no, I got a crew coming. And he said, do you live here? I said, yes, I do. He said, you get to eat this food all the time? I said, been eating it for 50 years. I said, I've been going since 1969. He was just nice. He went over and put his arms around Nick and around Jack Salmons, and then his team got there. His dad and Michael Greller and his coach and several others, but just a nice young fella. And you know, Dave, we'll talk about it all week. He can be leading on Sunday. And everybody will be thinking this until ball lands on 12.
On 12, yeah, sure.
Everybody's going to be thinking it.
Well, I mean, let's be honest. The 15th
lands
major,
dry on 12.
Right. The 15th major for Tiger Woods, that miracle.
That's where he won it. Was on 12.
He won it on 12 when 3, maybe 4 guys. Spieth.
Well, the great Jack Nicklaus said they filled up the pond with golf balls.
It was incredible. I'm trying to remember. So Molinari hit it in the water. Spieth hit it in the water. Who else hit it in the water that year? When that allowed Tiger to take the lead. There was at least
somewhere
one more.
in there was Webb Simpson.
Did Brooks Koepka hit it in the water?
I think he did. He did. Yeah.
I think there were 4.
And that's where Tiger. And that was the great quote from Frank Nobilo. He said he's chased them down, hunted them down, and now he's caught them.
He did. He really did. And,
So tonight, I threw this out at David Cobb. I want to get you and Drew's input on this. For Jalen Suggs of Gonzaga, what's his stat line? What's the minimum stat line he has to have tonight and Gonzaga win and him be voted MOP?
Well, he doesn't need a lot.
Does he have to scratch?
No, he's got to scratch. He's got to have. He's
4-4-4, triple fours.
He's got to have a little better than that. I'm going to say he's got to have at least 8 points, and he'll get that. Yeah, he all year has been the guy that made them go. Every time they were in trouble, every time they needed
Makes
a bucket.
Makes them go defensively.
He does everything for them. That block, we're all going to talk about forever. And we will watch it being replayed just like we see Mario Chalmers 3, just like we see
we don't see Chalmers 3 near as much as we see Bryce Drew
I was just
in a first-round game.
I think we see that
Please
more.
quit showing that.
I'm shocked. I do think we see the Chalmers shot a lot, though. But we'll see that more than anything.
You see it every night about 4 o'clock in the morning in your nightmares, don't you?
I do.
Yeah,
my wife wonders why
do,
I'm kicking my sheets off. It's because of that.
But Dave, tell me why we never see Scotty Thurman's rainbow shot. Ever. You never see it.
You should be.
But you see Bryce Drew in a first-round game in a 12 over a 5.
That is crazy. How about the U.S. Reed shot? We should be seeing that more often.
Well, NBC, that was NBC. I don't know if CBS, I don't know if they have the rights to it. I don't know.
Really? I think
when
the
they got the
NCAA
deal, do you
has
think
the right,
they got all the rights?
I think the NCAA owns all of that. So
But we will see Suggs is forever.
Well,
which one was bigger, Suggs or Leitner?
Well, I think it's Suggs because Leitner got that team to a Final Four, and Suggs got it to a championship game.
And Leitner's shot, though, gave Duke a lead. They were behind. Suggs, even if it had back iron unkind, Timmy B style, they would have at least gone to double OT.
They were. Yeah.
It's a good debate for
It
the
is.
rest of the time.
It
but
is.
Look, I mean, that was a shot and that was a game. And
Well,
Mick Cronin, talk about stand-up cats like Jordan Spieth. How about Mick Cronin and that impresario performance post-game of no excuses, proud of his team, no tears.
Well, I'm not sure who said it, but they were right on the money. Hey, if you're going to lose a game, that's a great way to lose a game because no one is ever going to say you lost that game. You're going to say that Gonzaga and Suggs won the game because they did. It was the last guy that had the ball. I mean, it was just an incredible classic performance. And so forever, no one's going to say Mick Cronin
I agree.
Lost that game.
I promise you, when we get to medals, I've got 3 medals: Gonzaga, Baylor, and UCLA. All played great. 2 won, unfortunately, 1 lost.
Yeah, it was it was just as good a basketball game in the tournament as I have ever seen. And we can go back, and there were great games with Duke and UNLV, and there have been I guess it was Duke and Butler.
Chris Jenkins shot just a few years ago.
There have been so many
for Villanova.
Classics, right? Yeah. There have been so many classic games in the NCAA tournament, but certainly this is one of
this shoots the top.
It was one of the greats. And before we get to top and not top story, we cannot help but think about the transfer portal. I don't know if I heard him on the air or I did speak a bunch with Fran Fraschilla while I was in Dallas for the NIT, which was a lot of fun. I didn't even get a chance. Maybe we'll chat about that. I think we got some time at about 4:45 where we can get into that a little bit. But Fraschilla said, whatever happened to player development? Whatever happened to when the going gets tough, the tough get going? And I don't mean going into the transfer portal. I mean growing as a team and learning how to play together, being together, and taking that journey. There's no journey anymore unless you count the journey of going into the transfer portal. It is just a terrible thing. We could say all day, and I think it is true. It's a terrible thing for the sport. It's a terrible thing for the fans. I'm not saying players shouldn't have freedom, but I am saying I think it's terrible for the players in the long run, too, because it makes quitting so easy. And I worry about guys who will get developed, let's say football, who will get developed by a team. And then they will go to a major Power 5 team because they think, oh, look what I am. And then that coach is saying, sure, you're really good. I don't mind having depth, for goodness sake. That's really good. And the guy can play. But then, wait a second. That 5-star kid, he wants to come. I'm taking him. Uh-oh. Now all of a sudden, you have been over-recruited, and you're not going to play at all. I am going to hate when that happens, but you watch. There will be instances where guys think it's going to be greener on the other side. They're going to go, and the fit is not going to happen at all. And then they're not going to get any playing time, and they're going to go, worst thing I ever did, especially because the fans in that other town loved me. Now they'll never get to know me.
Dave, 2 Tigers come to mind that developed year over year over year and became beloved players. DJ Steffens and just a few years ago, the good point guard. God, where's my brain?
Jeremiah Martin.
Jeremiah Martin.
Thank you. Jeremiah Martin and Penny's first year at the end of Tubby. Look how they developed and became beloved players.
Sure.
And now there would kind of be a wink and a nod both ways of, hey, go find you somewhere else, or I'm going to go find somewhere else.
Well, you're right. DJ Steffens was a 0 star. I mean, all DJ Steffens could do, and he gets a lot of credit because he worked his tail off. I know I see him on Twitter all the time. He's got some interesting things that he has to say. He's growing up for sure. But DJ Steffens he couldn't do anything but jump. I mean, he was an extraordinary leaper, but he had no other skills.
Made himself with good coaching a good player.
He made himself a good player. He was developed by the staff. Jeremiah Martin, the only scholarship offer Jeremiah Martin got was Louisiana Tech, which he accepted. And then when the hometown team came and said, we'd like you, he listened and he came. And obviously he developed into being a great player. I am astounded because, in the little G League season they had, he was unbelievable. But nobody has given him a shot. I'm really a little bit surprised at that. I hope there's something there for him, or if not, I hope he goes to Europe or to China and makes $1 million a year because he's really a good player and he's a really good human being. I really enjoyed the time spent interviewing and getting to know Jeremiah Martin a little bit. So I think you're right about that. And I don't know that we'll see that anymore because Jeremiah Martin didn't play right away. He had to earn it. These guys, I'm not sure they want to earn it. They want to be told, you're going to get PT. We're giving you 23 minutes no matter what you do. If you turn the ball over 18 times, don't worry. You got the – who's doing that? What coach would do that?
But the 3 Tiger players in the portal, they played the 3rd, 4th, and 6th most minutes. They got to play.
Right.
I mean, I don't get it. I know tonight it will be title time. At about 10:40 tonight, somebody will be crowned, and FanDuel Sportsbook, they can hook you up like a champion. They are celebrating the big game with 40-1 odds on either team. That's right. New users get 40-1 odds on either team to win the championship game. You can win $200 on a $5 bet. You've been watching from the sidelines all tournament long. Now is the perfect time to get in on the action. All you have to do is download the FanDuel Sportsbook app and make your first deposit to unlock exclusive 40-1 odds. The app is easy to use, and when you win, you'll get paid in as little as 24 hours. Just sign up with promo code CASH so they know I sent you. That's FanDuel Sportsbook, promo code CASH. Must be 21 or older and present in Tennessee. New users only. Must wager in designated offer market. $10 first deposit required. See full terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com for problem gambling support. Call 1-800-889-9789. This hour of our show brought to you every day by the one and only Lexus dealership in town, and that is Lexus of Memphis at 2600 Ridgeway and online at lexusofmemphis.com. Call them up at 901-362-8833. But better yet, get by 2600 Ridgeway. Great offers on all 2021 models and always special lease options. Drive in luxury and confidence knowing that every new Lexus comes with complimentary first and second maintenance services. Stop by today at Lexus of Memphis at 2600 Ridgeway and put yourself in the driver's seat of an all-new 2021 flagship LS500, and you'll be looking and driving replete in style. When you purchase a Lexus, you'll get top-of-the-line engineering and design, and that makes for the luxury driving experience. 901-362-8833, online at lexusofmemphis.com. Experience amazing at Lexus of Memphis.
Top story of the day.
Well, it's Championship Monday. It is the number 1 overall seed in the tournament. That would be Gonzaga, a chance to try and get the immortality that undefeated teams get, like that 1976 Indiana team, the last team to do it. They could do that tonight, but in their way is the number 2 overall seed, Baylor. And Baylor in this tournament has looked lights out. The trio of guards are superb. This one, which is hard to say after what we just saw with that Gonzaga-UCLA game, this one should also be a classic.
top it.
I mean, I don't know if it could top it, but it is going to be, I think, an amazing game to watch. And if I could just add one little thing, as a good story, I think I am weaning myself off of not top story being coronavirus news, and this is the reason why, the vaccines. And I'll end this today with this. At this moment, in Shelby County, as of this morning, 241,000 vaccinated in Shelby County. That is 26% of the population. We still got a ways to go. But 26% of the population have now been vaccinated. Hallelujah.
My top story, this is what we wanted. And like the national championship game in football, this was predicted from the first poll to the final game. You go back and look at every poll all year, and it was 1-2 Gonzaga Baylor, maybe one or two deviations with Illinois slipping in there when Baylor was shut down with COVID and then lost a game. And we're all celebrating Gonzaga versus Baylor tonight as predicted by everyone in the preseason and throughout. But when it happened in college football, it was a lot of criticism about passe, same old thing, could have predicted this in the preseason. We just had a 68-team tournament that produced exactly what a 4-team tournament in football did. Very predicted finals.
Not top story of the day.
Well, that is what is going on in Cincinnati. We saw their promising young players that were actually recruited by the coach, John Brannon, were transferring. They had a total of 6 in the transfer portal, which is a little bit more than most schools have had, although, what have we got, 1,200 now in the transfer portal for basketball. But there are real culture problems with John Brannon. He has now been suspended indefinitely. The Cincinnati basketball program, which must be good for the league to be good, for the American to be a bona fide, really good league, to portray itself as right below the Power Five, which they do in football, and rightfully so. But if they are to do that in basketball, Cincinnati, Memphis, they've got to be good all the time. Wichita State's got to be good all of the time. Houston has to be good all of the time. Those are the big 4 that have to really be there. And you know what? I'm going to throw SMU in because that has some history too. There's 5 teams. If Cincinnati, with its tradition and history, is going to be bumbling the way they have the last 2 years, and it's been a nightmare since Mick Cronin left, Brannon apparently is the wrong guy. But it is sad what is happening there, and it's sad for the league because they are critical to the league's success.
Would you hire Andy Kennedy?
I personally would. Did you? By the way, did you see that Jamal Johnson, who used to be a Tiger and transferred to Alabama, he transferred today.
Transferred to Auburn, didn't he?
Oh, Auburn. You're right. He transferred to Auburn.
Yeah. He's with Andy now at UAB. Andy probably should have been hired way back when and was really angry he didn't when he was the interim after Bob Huggins fell apart. But I think he should be on the list. My not top story, through the language barrier and through the interpreters speaking for it, but you could hear clearly the universal language of the tears of joy spoke loudly yesterday by Tsubasa Kajitani, 17 from Japan, in tears at winning the Augusta National Women's Amateur. It was as sweet a moment as you can ever watch in sports, with the final round being played at the famed Augusta National. She was in awe of the course and the treatment and the tournament and the grounds and everything that went with it. You could feel the respect. You could feel the tears. And you're going to hear a lot of criticism this week of the Masters. Boy, it brings them out. I don't know what some of the people in sports hate more, baseball or the Masters. And their chairman, Fred Ridley, is going to be peppered with questions about things going on in Georgia that he has no control over. And he's going to be questioned about a lot of things. But Augusta National, it has really separated itself with what it's done for the youth of the game and drive, chip, and putt, and for the women's side of the game. But there are a lot of haters out there, and they'll all speak up this week.
Well, you're right. And I can't help but think, because the chair of Augusta is going to, like everybody is, going to address the voter suppression and the legislation in Georgia. Now the Texas governor, Greg Abbott, has taken himself off the mound for the first pitch on opening day in Arlington for the Texas Rangers. Because
there's less suppression in Georgia than there is in the state of New York, where everybody's headquarters are.
Right, and he's done that because he's mad at baseball. So that's why he's taken himself off, and it's just proof to me. And I remember this forever. Unless you really can make positive change, and I don't know if that is what the vehicle of sports is supposed to be. But politics and sport do not equal escape and entertainment. That much is pretty clear to me. If we can unequivocally say, because they are doing this in sport and taking this stance, then the right social change will be made, then I'm all for it. But otherwise, it seems to me more division takes place. And that is troubling when you really love the escapism it normally will bring you. We are busy today. Ted Butler comes your way in just a few minutes. Can't wait to hear from him for the first time this year. We've got medals at 3:45. Our friend from CBS Sports, David Cobb, will join us at 4. Andy Schiffman, because we had Ole Miss baseball on Friday, he wasn't here. We'll talk about the Grizzlies and their win. And right now they're tied for 8th in a playoff spot. We'll talk with Andy Schiffman about that at 4:30. Blake Lovell, final appearance, the man from Blue Ribbon Magazine. We'll talk Final Four with him. Then at 5:30, we'll talk about our top 5 starters of both Gonzaga and Baylor. I'll tell you something. Gonzaga, when you do your homework on this, my gosh, what a bevy of great players they've had in the last 25 or 30 years. And, of course, we'll end it all at 5:50 with Taco Bell Crunch Time. We are officially underway on this Monday on Sports Time.
We are Sports 56 WHBQ. Listen to us daily on AM 560, 98.5 FM, and 96.1 FM.
Did you know nearly 40% of men under 40 and over 75% of men over the age of 40 experience sexual performance concerns? At the Memphis Men's Clinic, their experienced physician performs a comprehensive evaluation that determines which specific issues may interfere with your sexual performance. These issues can vary and range from anxiety to medical issues, low testosterone, or erectile dysfunction. The Memphis Men's Clinic has evaluated hundreds of men of all ages over the years and reestablished a normal sexual life. The Memphis Men's Clinic will work aggressively to resolve issues and allow you to restore your sexual health and overall well-being. That's the Memphis way. If you're 20 years old or 90 years old, come and get cared for the Memphis way. Treatment that's based on your specific needs after a professional clinical evaluation by their experienced board-certified physician. Call the Memphis Men's Clinic today at 901-443-0475 or visit memphismensclinic.com.
Hi, folks. Bob Burkhammer for Sunrise Buick GMC Truck. Thinking about buying a newer used car or truck? Remember, the selection's better and the savings are bigger at Sunrise. Over 600 new cars and trucks to choose from. Factory rebates up to $8,000. Interest low as 0%. Bad credit? It's okay. At Sunrise, we've got financing for everybody. SunriseMemphis.com. We're saving you money. It's just the way of doing business. Coming to Pike, Wolf Chase, and Collierville. We make it fun to buy a car again. Check out the all-new Sunrise Truck Corral. Huge selection of nothing but trucks. All makes, all models, all prices, all trucks, all the time. Next to Sunrise Wolf Chase.
At Jason's Deli, when you're dining in or picking up curbside, you can expect wholesome food and no surprises, just delicious sandwiches, crisp salads, and quick quality meals made with the freshest ingredients and no artificial trans fats, MSG, high fructose corn syrup, or artificial colors and dyes. Around here, a lot of thought goes into what we put into our food and what we take out of it, because you're not just taking a bite, you're getting a taste of who we are. New items are constantly being created to expand our menu for all tastes and special diets with vegan and gluten-free options available. Convenience and on-time delivery you can count on. It's just a click away at jasonsdeli.com, so whether you need to feed 5 people or 5,000, the team at Jason's Deli, they have the credentials and the commitment to keep you satisfied. Freshness is nearby at Jason's Deli with locations at Ridgeway in the Park Place Center, Poplar and Highland, Germantown Road in Cordova, and on Goodman Road in Olive Branch. Jason's Deli. It's wholesome food and no surprises.
It's happening again at Family Leisure. Don't miss out again this summer because pools are going fast. Spas in stock now, too, and they're ready for delivery. New 2021 patio furniture, state-of-the-art in stock now, and up to 20% off select sets. Swing into spring with a brand new play gym, professional installation available. The temperature's rising, and so is the service at Family Leisure. Family Leisure, I-40 and Whidden Road, where family and fun come together.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stacks. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brett Norsworthy.
Welcome back in. Nice to be back. A reminder, in case you're looking for Ole Miss in North Alabama, that starts right now on 96.1. So join David Kellum, and you can listen to the Rebels play some baseball. And a reminder, on 56, 98.5 this afternoon at 6, it'll be pre-game time for the national championship game, followed by Gonzaga and Baylor. You get it all right here on the family of stations here at the Flynn Broadcasting Center. We're in the Family Leisure Studios. Don't miss out again this summer. Pools are going fast, I promise. Spas in stock now. They're ready for delivery. You know that by now. The 2021 patio furniture in stock now, and they're up to 20% off select sets. Swing into spring with a brand new play gym, professional installation, always available. You might ask about financing too. Many, many times you get deals at Family Leisure. That's I-40 and Whidden Road, where family and fun come together. It's been a while since I've been able to talk to the guru of golf in this town when it comes to teaching and knowing the PGA Tour. That is our friend Ted Butler. How are you, man? It's good to talk to you.
I'm glad to hear you too, Dave. And I've got to thank you for bringing the Tigers home an NIT title.
Well,
you did a great job.
I thank you very much. I didn't have much to do with it, but it sure was a lot of fun to watch. It's going to be a lot of fun to watch at Augusta National. This is about as short a period of time from Dustin Johnson's championship. As Brett pointed out, you're not getting a full year. You are right back in it, and it starts on Thursday. And we'll see the colors that we did not get to see when it was in the fall.
That's right. And I did not get to wear my red and black outfit today either.
No. Like
I normally do, the week before. But all that aside, Augusta looked great on Saturday on TV in the girls' tournament. Did you see that?
I did not. I saw some highlights of it. Yeah, it did. I know, Brett, you watched it.
Yeah, and it did, Ted. It looked fast and firm, and they think they can have it just as tip-top as they want to get it this weekend. I'm going to call it now, Ted. 20 under won't win it again this time, even if Dustin Johnson goes back-to-back.
Yeah, I don't think 20 under either. Watching those girls try and putt those greens, the highlight, of course, was Rachel Heck. She bogeys 18 or she ties for first. She had a fantastic tournament. 3 or 4 under on the back nine and makes bogey on 18 to miss the playoff. It was. I watched every bit of it. It was really exciting.
Ted, since you bring her up, is she a can't miss? Is she going to be a PGA Tour player? LPGA Tour player?
Yeah, I absolutely. She's got everything. She's been doing it for a long time, and she used to be Aubrey Jones' biggest rival when they were coming up, and Aubrey would beat her all the time. And then Rachel got better and better and better, and started beating Aubrey. And now Aubrey's quit golf and teaching school, and no telling about Rachel. She's got all the tools it takes. She works as hard as anybody out there. Got a great golf swing, great attitude. I just think she's just made for it. Looks like the guys this week. I don't know if DJ can repeat or not, but it'd be hard to bet against him. I think myself, Justin Thomas is about ready. He's as well as he played the players, and he's got the perfect ball flight. He's got a great short game. He's would be my, if I had a pick, that would be him.
Ted, two players that kind of came along in the same vintage, Jordan Spieth and Justin Thomas, really good friends. Jordan Spieth got off to the red-hot start for the career, and he still has more majors. He has he has 3 of the 4. He has everything but a PGA, and all Justin Thomas has is his one PGA. But right now, with the Spieth comeback, which player do you think is better poised to win this week? You just talked about Justin Thomas. Do you think he's better poised to win this week at Augusta National than Jordan Spieth?
Well, he certainly has been playing better over the last few years. I can't believe Jordan won a tournament the way he drives the ball. I mean, he's in last place in fairways hit and the leader in proximity missing the fairways. It's just incredible that they could win a golf tournament hit it like that. But his short game is incredible. I heard Dave talk about the 8-iron he hit on the layup yesterday. Looked like it was the worst shot ever. And somehow he pulled it out. But I don't know. And he does play great at Augusta. He used to have a great track record there. Could have won it 3 times by now. You never know.
I don't know, but I would think that was magic potion for him to finally win after 3.5 years. So he's got to be brimming with confidence. All right, let's ask you about DeChambeau. He had a special way to attack. He thought he could attack Augusta like he did that U.S. Open at Marion. Can he win this tournament?
I think he can. He'll probably have to pull back a little bit on some of the holes, like the drives he hit on 13 last year that went over the trees and over the fairway and out into 4. There's some places where you can't unload that driver all the time. And if he figures that out, he hits a 2-iron 300 yards. It's, he could win, and he's been putting really well. I don't know I wouldn't pick him. I would pick DJ before him, and there's some other guys too. I think Rahm and Finau, who plays good there just about all the time and can't quite win any tournament, but he's certainly got the game for it.
Ted, if Bryson DeChambeau did to Augusta National what he did to Wingfoot at the U.S. Open, we know they tiger-proofed. Could you see 8,000 yards in Bryson proofing?
No, I don't think so. I don't see how he can possibly overpower Augusta like Wingfoot. The greens around the greens, the complexes are so difficult. If you get on the wrong side, there's places you can't 2-putt. It's not all power golf at Augusta. They've got you got to have great short game, and you got to be a great putter, and sometimes you got to back off a little bit. And he didn't last time. He went for trying to drive all the greens, and what did he shot about even par, I think, wasn't it?
Yeah, if they try to get to 8,000, they have to buy all of Augusta Country Club, I guess.
A whole state, right?
And 1 tee would be out in Washington Avenue.
Yeah, it would be. Let me ask you, you mentioned Rahm. He's a new dad. I kind of like him in this instance, too. But what about Rory McIlroy? He's always now sort of an afterthought. We don't view him as the elite guy we used to.
Well, he got all caught up in the DeChambeau power, and he readily admits it, that he got wrapped up in trying to hit the ball as far as Bryson, and it messed with his game. And he hasn't putted well in years. I mean, he's putted decent, and he's won a couple tournaments here and there, but it just hasn't been the presence that he used to be. I don't know whether there's a lot on his plate or I don't know. I don't see it. I haven't seen it with him lately.
What about the bionic knee of Brooks Koepka? I mean, fresh from the surgeon's table and to his name being called by Toby Wild on 1 tee at Augusta National. Go get him.
Once again, I just you have to wonder how he feels when he moves onto that leg. Is it twinging?
Does he trust it?
Yeah, right. Is he wondering, is it going to hurt on the way back or the way down, or or where I'm walking on these hills. You know, it's such a hard golf course to walk anyway, up and down those hills, and I'd be surprised with the lack of good play that he's had lately, and being injured if he was a contender. There's a lot of other guys that are in better physical shape anyway.
Let me throw out one other name that I think is due to get his first and to become a major guy, and that's Xander Schauffele.
Yeah, absolutely. He's he's hanging around every week, you know, and he's long enough. He's just got a really strong all around game. There's no weaknesses anywhere. You know, he's a good driver, great iron player, good chipper putter. There's no reason he can't win it. He's kind of like in the Patrick Cantlay mode. You know, I keep thinking he's going to break through and win a major pretty soon too.
So it won't be 20 under. If it was around 10, 9, 10, 11, 12 under, could a guy that kind of old school, kind of the old school description of a Augusta National winner, of a Masters winner, get around the greens and play really well? And we know Webb Simpson's got a really sharp short game and on the green game. Could he win it? Yes,
Simpson could. He's won a major before. You know, U.S. Open. He's a really good player too. It wouldn't surprise me if he won it. Good.
Not old school, but already young and already winning at an incredible rate. A Tiger, Johnny Miller kind of rate, and that's Colin Morikawa. Is his game geared for Augusta National?
I think it is, and I think his attitude, the way he plays golf, the way he is as a person, you know, even from some angles, he even looks like Tiger. You know, when they show him from the side, sometimes he's got that Tiger look, and he's a really good player. I mean, you just don't know who can hold up. You know, when that pencil gets heavy on Sunday at Augusta. But I think he's got the internal fortitude to do it. Sure, absolutely.
Ted, I thought he had the golf shot of the year for 2020, even with that imposing wheel that Bryson DeChambeau broke out on Winged Foot. I thought that drivable par 4 at Harding Park in the PGA by Colin Morikawa was the shot of the year.
I have to totally agree with you. I mean, that was to be able to, and that really was under the circumstances and the length and the accuracy. It was just an incredible shot, and the guts to pull it off.
All right, one last name, because he's 110-1 odds, and I'm really surprised he's that high. I thought he would be in like the 40 to 50 range. That's Billy Horschel, who's every time he's played, it seems this year, has been in the top 10 or 20.
Yeah. Well, he's having a great year, and he's committed himself this year. He's working harder than ever. He's living in the gym. He's working on his game. He's fit. That would not be a surprise for him to contend. I don't think he can win. I don't know that that's in his cards yet for that golf tournament, but I would certainly not be surprised to see him in the top 5 or 10.
Well, Ted, let me just say,
and he's one of the few people that openly. He does not worship at the Church of Augusta National Golf Course. No. He doesn't. He has criticized it. And through the years, I think he's kind of fought it a little bit Trevino style, Ted.
I think you're right. It's some guys have their own attitudes about stuff like that. And when you feel that way, like Trevino, he had no chance to win the way he felt about the whole thing. Aside from not hitting the ball far enough, but he just didn't like the whole situation around there.
Well, he didn't like. I mean, his shot shape was not conducive to scoring at Augusta.
No, that's why I like Justin Thomas so much, because his shot shape is straight up in the air and long. You know, and he can reach all the par 5s. He's got that great chipping stroke around the greens. It does that 2-hop stop. You know, he did lots of times last year, and he's not afraid to win. could be a real battle with he and DJ.
I'm with you. I think Justin Thomas is the favorite in all of this, even though Vegas is saying it is DJ. Go ahead.
And it back-to-back has only happened twice before. Faldo and Nicholas.
Right.
The only two have ever won back-to-back. So it's not that easy to do.
Nope. Although this would be the closest in time.
Tiger did it too. He did it in the early 21st century. He went back-to-back.
I'm trying to think of the years. Don't remember.
Yeah. My goal is that I get to see you this year. Well, not just I am going to see you in your place on summer.
Okay.
But I'm talking about in studio. I hope we get to do that before this year is out.
I would like that. That's I enjoy that a lot.
Me too. Ted, great to have you back. We'll talk to you next Monday. We'll have a champion.
Okay, guys. Talk to you later.
That is Ted Butler, our good buddy. We'll take a break. When we come back, it'll be time for Precious Metals on Sports Time on Sports 56.
Get happy with Sports 56 Happy Hour with Johnny Radio. Weekday afternoons from 1 to 3 on Sports 56, 98.5, and 96.1.
I want to do some bragging rights. Hey, I was just the other day overhearing a conversation with Big Mike, the manager of DeSoto Auto Sales. They've got people buying cars all over the country. North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, Alabama, Arkansas, Texas. People from all over the country buy cars at DeSoto Auto Sales in Olive Branch, Mississippi. Why? DeSoto Auto Sales has the most stringent car inspection in America. They get it right the first time. Quality and low mileage, factory warranty on most vehicles. My favorite part is the people who work there. Big Mike, all the employees are professional, friendly, and go that extra mile. Expect as you walk in the door, you're treated like family. DeSoto Auto Sales understands your time matters. We can help you find your dream car and get all the paperwork finished in less than an hour. Come see us at DeSoto Auto Sales and be part of our family. Have a great buying experience every time. 662-890-7184.
Texting enrolls you into reoccurring automated text messages. Message and data rates may apply.
Come on, one more rep. You got this. 10. There it is. Nice work, man. You're a beast.
Thanks, man. I feel better than I have in years. And I got to tell you, taking Nugenix makes a huge difference for me.
Nugenix? That's the testosterone booster with TV ads with Frank Thomas. The big hurt, right?
Oh, yeah. The patented key ingredient is Testofen, which helps boost free testosterone levels and increase lean muscle mass.
Well, it's clearly working for you. Hey, are they still giving out complimentary bottles for people to try it for themselves?
Yeah, Nugenix is a great way to increase lean muscle and feel stronger with more energy and endurance.
Man, I need to get a complimentary bottle of Nugenix.
No problem. You just got to send them a text. Text both to 42424 right now for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix, the #1 selling free testosterone booster at GNC. Plus, text now and we'll include a bottle of new Nugenix Thermo, our most powerful fat incinerator ever, to help get you back into shape fast, absolutely free. Text BOTH to 42424. That's both to 42424.
This is a job alert. If you're looking for work, this will interest you. Whether you're looking for full-time, part-time, or even something temporary if you've been recently furloughed, text 107-JOB to 49330. That's 107-JOB to 49330. Office work available now in a clean office environment with all COVID precautions taken. Text 107-JOB to 49330 and someone will be in touch about these job opportunities available now. Text 107-JOB to 49330.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here once again are Dave Ocean and Brett Norsworthy.
Welcome back in. Without any further ado, before we run out of time, we got to get to Precious Metals. I'll start. I'll give my bronze medals. I got a couple. I'll give them to the Grizz. Great defense last night. They held the 76ers to 42% shooting. When they defend and when they share the ball, they had great balance in this game in terms of distribution of the ball. 30 assists again. They don't lose when that happens. And they upset the team that had the best record in the Eastern Conference. And they are now tied for the 8th spot in the West. They'd be in the playoffs today if it started. That is good news. Jordan Spieth, we just mentioned, his first win in 3.5 years, even though he tried to botch it on the final hole, but I give him credit. And glad to see he was a winner. He gets a bronze. I've got 3 silver medals. Shohei Ohtani, this is amazing. The guy in the first inning yesterday had a strikeout with a pitch of 101 miles an hour. His first at bat had the exit speed of 115 miles an hour, and he hit a 51-foot homer. A strikeout.
That's Sid Finch stuff, isn't it?
I mean, that is like, if it was on April 1st, I would have said it was April Fool's.
That's Frank DeFord's Sid Finch league there.
Is that not amazing? How about the White Sox designated hitter, Yermin Mercedes? He went, first time this has ever happened, 8 for his first 8 to start 2021. He was 8 for his first 8. That's the first time a modern player ever had a start like that. And then there is, I should have mentioned this name. I don't know if he would have known who she really was, but Patty Devatatanakit, I think is how you pronounce that name. She is a Thai player on the LPGA Tour. She won her first major, the first major of the year on the LPGA Tour. They got 5. She won the first one. It's her first in her career. Young lady, played at UCLA. Brett, she hit a drive yesterday that was 337 yards. This is a female that usually they're playing about 6,400 yards. She's hitting 337-yard drives. She hits it as far as a man. That's incredible. Amazing. And then, obviously, the NCAA championships on both the men and the women get my golds. Obviously, we had that incredible classic between UCLA and Gonzaga. Can't wait for tonight. But the women gave us 2 great games in the semifinals. Stanford had to hold off and escape South Carolina that had 2 good looks at the end to win. Arizona had to upset Gino Auriemma and UConn. I think they were about 14, 15-point favorites, and Arizona went. And then Stanford held on to beat Arizona by 1 yesterday. You talk about competition and drama. We got it in San Antonio, we got it in Indy, and we'll get the culmination tonight.
My bronze goes to the Phoenix Suns, 4 clear of the LA Clippers in the second spot in the West. They are now closer to the first spot than they are to the Clippers closing in on them. Silver medal, I got 2 of them. One to the Memphis Grizzlies, 1 over 500, and a great win in Philly. I know who they didn't have, but I know who the Grizzlies haven't had a lot of times this year. Bring your own motivation, bring your own excuses, bring your own whatever you need to win or to lose. Everybody's had to deal with COVID. The Grizzlies have had too, and with injuries, they get the win. And being in that 8th spot would be very important. Silver medal too, Shohei Ohtani. And last night had his entire career all in one night. The really good and the really bad about his career really kind of showed last night. His arm, his power, and an injury. Gold medal goes to Jordan Spieth. I think he's back. We'll see. Well, I think he'll completely be back when he lands the ball safely on dry ground on number 12 on Sunday in contention. Another gold goes to the undefeated Baltimore Orioles, Drew's O's. If the playoffs started today, you know the rest of that sentence. They don't. This year they don't start today or after 60 games.
Didn't they start
It'll be after
that
162.
Didn't they start that way last year?
In 2019, they
right.
won, I believe, 7 of their first 10.
Something I thought it was like 7 of their first 8.
And final gold goes to Gonzaga, Baylor, and UCLA. I said it an hour ago. I'll say it again. They all played great. Unfortunately, 2 won and 1 loss. But there are losses that you can be very proud of. And UCLA, they hadn't had many of those. They don't hang a whole lot of banners for close losses. That was a great loss. And Mick Cronin, I've always liked him. I love him now. You're Rust.
My Rust, I got a couple. One, I'm going to start with uncompetitive games in the NBA. And I don't mean to be picking on the NBA, and I love the NBA. And those are the greatest players in the world.
There's some teams quitting. Yeah.
But in the last 2 weeks, we have seen games like the embarrassment that Golden State had against Toronto. where they scored 66 points and lost by 60 points. I mean, come on. And every night there's a game or two where teams lose by 20 to 30. It's like they're just, I guess, management on minutes, guys just not playing, no explanations, just terrible product on occasion. I just think that is terrible for the league. Final rust, it goes in part with one of your medals. It's to the Boston Red Sox. They got beat up by Drew's Baltimore Orioles. Just the second time in their history, they began a season at home and lost all 3 games to start the season in Fenway.
2 rusts from me, both kind of a local flavor. One from the AAC to Houston. They got pounded, and that was an easy path they really had to get to the Final Four. If it hadn't been for the Rutgers collapse, I don't know if they'd have gotten that far. They weren't that good all year, I didn't think. You lose to East Carolina, I don't think you're very good. And other rust to the St. Louis Cardinals pitching. It looks like it stayed in spring training, which is a good thing because now they're in Miami, very close to their spring training home, so maybe the pitching can join the team this week because giving up 6, 9, and 12 and base runners everywhere. Every time you looked up, there were 2 base runners on all weekend against Cincinnati in 2 out of 3 losses to the Redlegs.
I just came from that area. It had been really hot. It got a little cool. I think it's going to be perfect weather for the Cardinals and the Marlins. And those are our precious medals. This final segment of our number 1 is brought to you by Supercuts. Nothing is more important to Supercuts than seeing all of you come in happy, healthy, smiling. And I will tell you, I will reiterate to all of you, they still have social distancing. They still have the Safe Salon commitment in place. What is that, you may ask? That is a partnership with top infectious disease doctors that has maximized that spacing, that safety inside all of the salons, all 15 in the Memphis area, and the sanitization is above and beyond. It means they're ready for you when you want to look good, and everybody who walks out of Supercuts always looks good. You can learn more about that Safe Salon commitment, and you can get set, find out which of the 15 locations is closest to you, and also make your reservation by going to supercuts.com. Back in a minute, we'll be joined by our friend from CBS, David Cobb, is next on Sports Time on Sports 56.
Hi, this is Troy Fiveash, owner of Fiveash Roof Services. You've heard me talk about how we offer the best products, the best warranties, and the best services for years. Now let's talk about pricing. Pricing should never be the only reason you hire a contractor, but in today's world, pricing is always a consideration. So we suggest you get 2 or 3 estimates for your roof replacement from a reputable, licensed, and insured company, and then give us a call. If we can't beat your best price for a comparable roof system by more than $100, we'll give you $100. It's that simple. We are so sure we can offer you the best price, beating all other qualified companies. We will hand you $100 if we can't, and thank you for the opportunity. So give us a call. What's the worst thing that's going to happen? Make $100? Fiveash Roof Services, a proud supporter of Tiger Athletics and the official roofer of the Tigers home team. Fiveash Roof Services, fair, honest, and ethical. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com.
Fiveash Roofing, it's what we do. We're here for you.
Bodega, 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 Alpha and Omega. Siamese sailors sell celery sandwiches. Sawing-a-bada, serving platter.
Hey, Jamie?
Yes?
Did you want to try reading that line on the script there?
Oh, yeah, let's see. You could save big when you bundle your home and auto with Progressive, that one?
Yes.
Yeah, no, I'm just not warmed up yet. Shouldn't be long. Detector test.
Bundle your home and auto with Progressive today.
The marmot mangled my mushy pork pancake.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
Hey, I heard that you just got a new car.
Yes, I sure did, and I could not believe how simple it was.
Really? Tell me what happened.
I bought my car at Cars Inc. They are family owned, and the choices of cars were the best I've ever seen. They even said they could price match with anyone and help me with whatever financing I needed.
Wow, it does sound like they know what they are doing.
Their family has been in the car business for over 30 years, and they're excited about being in Memphis.
Where are they?
5095 Cummington Way, and their phone number is 901-623-7180.
Don't miss 20 seasons of Grizzlies basketball in Memphis. Limited single-game tickets for all second-half games are on sale now. Tickets start at just $12, but they won't last long. Check out grizzlies.com/tickets today.
We are Sports 56 WHBQ Memphis, W253DF Memphis, and WIVG Tunica Memphis. Flynn Broadcasting Stations. Now, more of Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brad Norsworthy.
Welcome back in here on Sports 56, 98.5, 96.1. So nice to have you with us on Championship Monday. Tonight, a classic, the number 1 overall seed in the tournament, Gonzaga, a 4.5-point favorite, over the number 2 overall seed in this tournament, Baylor. We've already had a classic. I don't know how you'll live up to what happened with UCLA and Gonzaga, but we're going to try tonight in Indianapolis, that is for certain. In this time slot all year long, he's been so kind to be with us, and he's done this now for a long time. We appreciate our friend from CBS Sports. That is David Cobb. And I know we're going to talk plenty about this tournament, but there is news today. North Carolina has reached a deal with their longtime assistant coach, and that is Hubert Davis, who gets the job to replace Roy Williams at North Carolina. He had been a coach beside Roy Williams for the past 9 years in Chapel Hill. This is a little like the Guthrie. When Dean Smith retired, they brought up his longtime assistant, but he was already old when they did that. Hubert Davis is not that old. David Cobb, is this a good hire?
You know, their options were limited because they apparently really did want to keep it in the Carolina family. And you would be surprised that coaching tree is not quite as green as you would maybe expect, given the caliber of players that have come through there, given the caliber of coaches who have been there. So if you were looking at family options as a priority, then it was either going to be Hubert Davis or Wes Miller, who's had a lot of success as the UNC Greensboro coach after playing at UNC under Roy Williams in the early 2000s. And Hubert Davis gets the job. Yeah, it's a good hire if you're looking at family names, so to speak. They certainly could have done better had they been more willing to poke around outside of the family. And I'm sure they did to a certain extent, but it was clear that expediency was a priority as well. And if you're trying to get something done quickly and you're trying to keep some of the current roster intact and maintain some continuity, then yeah, Davis makes a lot of sense. So he checks some boxes, but I'm not totally convinced that they avoid the sort of downturn that they took after Dean Smith's retirement, because as you point out, they did a similar thing when Dean Smith retired. If you remember, they were good that first year after Dean Smith retired, but they cycled down. Final Four. Right, but they cycled down shortly thereafter. So yeah. I have mixed emotions on it. I think it's Hubert Davis. I think you can say without too much debate that he deserves a shot at it. What he does from it, from this point is anybody's guess. It's not a slam dunk, but for what Carolina prioritizes, I think it's a good hire.
David, I'm with you. In North Carolina, they got every right to hire whomever they'd like to without having to check with Brett or David or Dave or Drew or any of us. And it does smack of the legend, Dean Smith, being replaced by the longtime right-hand man, the assistant. But Dave Woloshin is right. Bill Guthridge was there on that bench for 30 years with St. Dean. Hubert Davis has just been there a blink of an eye. But, David, over the weekend, when I would see some of the lists, I was about to pull the last 4 hairs I have out when I would see Jerry Stackhouse on some lists. Somebody please tell me, other than playing at North Carolina, how Jerry Stackhouse would be on any list. And the answer would be he's family. That's fine. Again, they have every right to hire whomever they want to with the North Carolina lineage. But it's so funny, David Cobb, that when North Carolina, when they want to hire a basketball coach, and it's going to be the same when Duke wants to hire one, they're going to stay in the family almost every time. To no criticism, but you let an SEC football team hire in the family, and they're always saying, "Oh, they're always trying to go back to the past with somebody in the family." To much criticism when SEC football does it, but you let Carolina do it, and it's all part of the game. It's all part of the family.
Well, and thankfully they had Roy Williams, there to finally convince, to come back when he did, because otherwise the family thing was going to take them nowhere fast. They went from Guthridge to Matt Doherty, and it was not a good situation. And they finally were able to get Roy Williams to come back. I mean, it's all about the caliber of coach that's available within the family. And if you have to turn to a Jerry Stackhouse, who hasn't been very successful at Vanderbilt, then, I don't think it's worth it. Now, I think with Hubert Davis, the modern thing to do is to go hire the alum who had a great NBA career. And Hubert Davis is statistically one of the better three-point shooters of all time in terms of percentage in the NBA. And so he kind of checks that box like a Penny Hardaway or a Patrick Ewing or a Juwan Howard. But he also brings the 9 years of experience on the college bench. They're not going to have to do what Indiana had to do with Mike Woodson, which is go out and hire Thad Matta, essentially just to guide Mike Woodson through the minefield of NCAA rules and just the various entanglements that come with getting into college coaching. And so I think in that way, the Hubert Davis hire is a better, I don't want to say better, because those guys like Stackhouse and Ewing and, certainly Penny have more name recognition, but there will be a much shorter learning curve for Hubert Davis. And I'll say this on Stack, he was here with the Grizzlies under J.B. Bickerstaff, and to be quite honest, if he were still an NBA assistant, he would have had a much better shot at that job than if he had gone to Vanderbilt and posted, the losing records that
showed he can't coach at all.
Well, that's it. I mean,
and I know they've had bad luck, so who knows? Maybe he'll turn it around. I'm not optimistic about that, but I genuinely believe that if Jerry Stackhouse were still an NBA assistant right now, he probably would have gotten a longer look at that UNC job.
I think if he had won at Vanderbilt, had competed for the SEC title,
he'd be the coach today.
He would be the coach. He's a big name. He's a likable guy. But unfortunately, he failed.
Can't coach at all.
Hubert Davis to me is a good pick. I wonder if Duke will go that route. I suspect they will. That they'll try to find somebody from family. Sometimes that is hard. If Hubert Davis fails this time, who's really in that mix, as you just mentioned? Unless Kenny Smith decides he's going to become a coach for a little bit here, who else is there out there? You going to bring Michael Jordan back?
George Karl. George Karl wanted it forever,
honest.
and then time passed him by. But, David, it's going to be interesting to see all the people that have tried to force Larry Brown on all these different programs, including his name being mentioned as an aide-de-camp assistant at Indiana for Mike Woodson, one of his favorite players ever. Let's see if North Carolina will allow him on that august college campus. He's gotten everywhere he's ever been in a boatload of trouble. He's one of the bigger violators of the rules ever. He's never met one he couldn't or wouldn't break, and he always gets a hangdog, sad sack look about him when he's caught and nailed over it. Let's see if North Carolina will let him hang around.
Yeah, right. Well, I don't understand how Larry Brown is still a name that gets brought up at this point. I think he's 80 years old now, and like you said, he's got some rules violations on his record that are no small deal. And with UNC and Hubert Davis, one, I would anticipate that there will be some holdovers from this current staff. However, I do think that they are going to have to shake things up at least a little bit, because we're talking about continuity here, but I don't know if continuity of what's gone on there the last two seasons is necessarily a great thing. I mean, they kind of started to figure it out late this season, and they made the NCAA tournament, but they were pretty non-competitive in a first-round loss to Wisconsin. And, of course, that was on the heels of last season where even with Cole Anthony, being a superstar on that campus, they weren't really able to accomplish anything. They had a terrible season. And so, Roy Williams was pretty blunt in his resignation about talking about how he just didn't feel like he was the right man for the job anymore. And so there will need to be, I think, some sort of a shakeup there. But, everything that we know about Carolina and everything that has been suggested with this hire of Hubert Davis, to me, says that they're just going to primarily, I would think, keep it within the family and hire, any number of former players who are assistant coaches elsewhere or who might be looking for that big break. Because look, Hubert Davis wasn't a coach with coaching experience before Roy Williams hired him 9 years ago to come on to staff. After he had retired from the NBA, he went to work for ESPN, and he was there for several years before getting into coaching. So I don't think the UNC family has any shortage of guys to turn to in the assistant realm. And I'm thinking that he'll at least, shake things up to a certain degree because that program needs a jolt. And if all you're doing is hoping for Hubert Davis to keep it going, well, that's not really going to get you anywhere because that program's been down the last couple of seasons by its historical standards.
Well, yeah, let's not forget that was the first time, his 30th appearance in the NCAA tournament, first time he's ever lost in the first round. So it has been tough for Roy the last couple of years. No doubt about it. Do you think that's it? Do you think he just got tired? Or I've heard that when a couple of players entered the transfer portal that he just said, I think I've had enough.
Well, you listen to him talk, it's pretty clear that Roy, and he's not running from this, he's acknowledging this, and he's been doing it for a while now, even before his resignation, that the sort of modern rule changes had a big impact on his sort of, just sort of disillusionment with the state of college basketball. No doubt, I think like a guy like Walker Kessler transferring after he was really coming into his own late this season.
That rocked.
I'm sure that wore on him. And if you look back over the years, and I did a piece last week about just the huge rise in transfers for good programs over the last, just handful of years, North Carolina was never a program that relied on transfers, and it was rarely a program that had players of any quality transfer out. And if Roy wanted to stick around, he was going to have to come to grips with an evolving landscape. And it seems like John Calipari and Mike Krzyzewski and Jim Boeheim are kind of more willing maybe to wrap their arms around the change that's coming. But Roy was pretty adamant about the fact that it didn't sit well with him. And so there's no doubt that the transfers and those things, had an impact on him getting to this point. I think, he was clear that he didn't feel like he could get this team to the level that he needed it to be at anymore. But wrapped up in that was some pretty clear acknowledgement that the shifting landscape of the sport was just not something that he was interested in.
I thought his bucket looked to be really empty. I think Walker Kessler rocked him. But do y'all remember that add-on game like in late February on a Thursday? I think Thursday, February 25th even, when they just tacked on that game with Marquette out of nowhere and playing Woj. And then Woj got fired, so I don't think he'll ever be the guy replacing Kay at Duke in the family. And Marquette handled them. I thought that night, I said, I swear I did. I said, Roy Williams may be done.
Yeah, and then the fans were, a lot of people were questioning why he put that game on the schedule. And if you remember that night after that game, he was pretty snippy with the media and kind of towards the fans in particular for the criticisms over them adding that game to the schedule. And, I hadn't been around Roy Williams all that long, but it seemed like it was a little bit out of character for him and like it might be kind of wearing on him a little bit. And then you remember, I forget, was it the regular season finale when they beat Duke at the Dean Dome, he kissed the court, so there were some kind of signs there that he was maybe reaching the end, and it's still shocking that it happened. He's just been such a staple for so long, but boy, hearing him talk in that press conference last week for going on for an hour, just about how kind of worn down he was, it was striking. And not surprising, it shouldn't be. He's 70 years old and he's been pouring his heart and soul into this sport for decades. But it seems like he was really, really worn down. And but I'll say this: it does also seem like he got the guy that he wanted. I mean, there's a lot of chatter about how about how Hubert Davis was the recommendation from Roy Williams to Bubba Cunningham. And so in that sense, I'm sure he's probably pretty happy today to see the guy who was at his side for almost a decade now get the chance.
You wrote the piece on the transfer portal. We're up to 1,200 now, teams that were successful. But Tigers are a great example. Win the NIT. Looks like they're all coming together, and then they lose guys that are getting minutes that will look like they were starting to flourish. Guys like Fran Fraschilla, who are a cheerleader for the game, and I mean that in a positive way, are questioning what's going on with the way this portal is working and to the detriment of the game. What was your takeaway from your piece?
Well, it was just that era. I mean, the era that we're kind of heading towards has already been started over the last 3 or 4 years. There's been a proliferation of transfers, and so I mean, there's kind of this idea now that wow, this is so unprecedented and so rare, and it's about to really take off and increase, to a whole new level with the anticipation that guys will be eligible immediately when they transfer for the first time after an NCAA rules change. But even without that rule in place, over the last 2, 3, 4, 5 years, there has been a tremendous uptick in the number of transfers, and the programs that have adapted to that and embraced that and sort of been able and willing to roll with it, they've had a lot of success. Look at Baylor tonight. I mean, you could say that all three of the guards in their backcourt are transfers. Jared Butler actually enrolled at Auburn, and he never played for Auburn, but he enrolled there before he transferred to Baylor. And then Maceo Teague and Davion Mitchell, both transfers as well from other D1 schools. And then, Gonzaga, Andrew Nimhard was a starter, like you're saying, like he might as well have been Boogie Ellis at Florida. A consistent player for them, somebody who in his first 2 years in the season did a lot of good things on teams that were at least relatively successful. And he decides to transfer. And, here he is, just 8 or 9 months out from enrolling at Gonzaga, going to be starting for them in the national title game tonight. And so, again, I've said this throughout the season, and I think it's worth mentioning again. The programs that I believe will have the most success moving forward will have a combination of the homegrown veterans who signed with the school and have been there all along. It'll also have some transfers, and then maybe it'll have a one-and-done type of player. That's the formula that has worked for Gonzaga and Baylor. Baylor doesn't have the one-and-done necessarily, but Gonzaga certainly does with Jalen Suggs. And so it's every roster management situation is going to be a work in progress deep into the summer months now. And in my opinion, it's got to be a mix. You can't rely all on transfers, and you're not going to be able to rely solely on guys who you signed as freshmen because there's not going to be enough of them around to build a program around.
David, they both could be right back here next year. I think they both would have been around at or near the end last year if we'd have got to the end last year. But for the sake of discussion, which one of these two, they better seal the deal tonight because they might not be back as quickly as the other one. Gonzaga or Baylor? You better go for it tonight. Kind of along the lines of Oregon in college football playing with the Heisman Trophy winner against Ohio State. And I said it on these airwaves that night. I said, Oregon better win it tonight because if they don't, Ohio State's going to get back around soon. I don't know that they will. Which one of these two tonight?
Yeah, Baylor. This is the opportunity of a lifetime for Baylor. I mean, it's been, 60, 70-something years since they've been in this point, and they will continue to be good so long as Scott Drew is their coach. But what they have this season is really unique. And those veteran guards who I've already talked about, and then, a guy like Mark Vital as a physical veteran who's been in the program for a long time, who kind of the heart and soul of that team, and then just such a great bench as well. I mean, Matthew Meyer, Adam Flagler coming off the bench, those are great players. Gonzaga, in my mind, is to a point now where it's ready to sort of assume status as a dynasty in college basketball and ready to, under Mark's view, perhaps even surpass in a 10-year window the accomplishments of a Duke or a Kentucky or a Villanova because that they're getting that caliber of player now. I mean, Jalen Suggs, we all know by now, is phenomenal, but he's certainly not going to be the last 5-star, top 20 type of player who goes to Gonzaga. And then on top of that, I mean, Mark Few can just coach the lights out. And so they're in my mind going to be back here and probably multiple times over the coming years. I think Baylor will continue to be good, but I'm not convinced that Baylor will continue to be a perennial Final Four contender year in and year out.
Interesting that you say that. I was thinking about Mark Few and about the success that Gonzaga has had, started by Don Munson 25 years ago. And Jalen Suggs is the highest-rated player he's ever got. Now, I know he got another new 5-star that's going to be the point guard that will replace Suggs. But this is the perfect mix, and that's part of the reason why I think they're favored. You've got a senior who's a really quality player in Kispert. You've got Timmy, who could probably leave after this year, but he's a sophomore. And then you got the highest-rated player you ever had. And they're all disciplined, and they all understand their roles, and that's a tip of the cap to Mark Few. But I'm not sure you get that combination all the time. Although, if you look at we're at 5:30 today, we're going to give the top 5 guys or the best starting lineup, however we're putting it, for both these programs. And when you look over this period of time, because it's not, you're not going back to the 70s like you might with Baylor. It's incredible the amount of talent that Mark Few has brought to Spokane.
Yeah, no doubt. And it's only getting better. I mean, you talk about Timmy, and yeah, he could leave after this season. And you know what, if he does, it sounds like they're about to land a commitment from Chet Holmgren, who most places had as the number 1 overall prospect in the class of 2021. And if Timmy isn't ready for the NBA, his playing time might be in trouble because Chet Holmgren is that good. So it's encroaching upon a sort of a new level for Gonzaga in terms of the talent that they're able to get. The one thing that Mark Few has done over the years is done a really good job of recruiting internationally. And that's still a huge flavor of this roster. I mean, you look at Joel Ayayi, who really carried Gonzaga in the first half of that game the other night against UCLA. He's an international prospect. You just think the last time they were in the national title game, Karnowski was a big guy, and he was an international guy. And so he's built his rosters creatively over the years, but, I mean, at this point, he may not even have to be all that creative anymore because guys are going to want to come and play for him. And in some ways, that's obviously a great thing, but it's going to, I think, cause him to sort of need to, avoid the pitfall of doing what Kentucky tries every year now and has been failing with, which is just relying entirely on those freshmen and on those newcomers. And so I'm really interested to see kind of what he does with next year's roster. I mean, I think, like I said, I think Gonzaga will continue to be good and continue to get back here, but it's going to be a different formula for them if they keep getting top 10, top 15 players.
Who wins tonight? Who wins the Masters? And a hard one for you. If you could only do what Jim Nance, he gets to do both of them. You could only do one. You could call to the Final Four, Saturday and tonight's final, or the Masters. You can't do both. Which one? Give me a winner tonight. Give me a Masters winner. And if David Cobb could call the game, which one would he call or event?
You know what? I think I'd actually take the Masters. I've never been to a Final Four, but I've been to NCAA tournament games before, and so I'd love to experience the Masters. There's just sort of that lure and that prestige to it. So I'll go Masters there, and then tonight I've got Baylor. I think they're playing better right now than Gonzaga. Who's the better team? If they play 100 times, I don't know. Maybe Gonzaga is, but I think Baylor's playing better right now and has been so good in spurts that I think they win. And then for the Masters, I'm going with John Rahm. He's got three top 10 on his resume at Augusta, and he hadn't won a major yet. He just had a kid, so I know he'll be motivated to go out and do something special this week. So Rahm's my pick for the Masters, and I got Baylor tonight.
Love all those picks, and the cool thing, if you did the Masters, then you would get to go into Butler Cabin. And and very few people
and say hello, friends, David.
Do you get to do that, or is that trademarked? I don't know. That may be owned.
I don't know.
That may be owned by Jim Nance. I'm not sure.
I think it's in the sheetrock that you have to say hello, friends, from there.
Wow.
Yeah, if I already work for CBS, I'll just go ahead and slip in my resume so that whenever Jim Nance retires, they'll know that I'm interested.
Well,
they've already got you in the queue at HR, don't they, David?
Exactly, yeah. So I can't think of a better successor.
There you
Good
go.
deal.
Good luck to you on that
Thank
one.
you, David.
We appreciate it.
friend.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Yep.
That is our friend. That is David Cobb. You know the title sponsor for this hour of the program? It's Homer Skelton Hyundai in Olive Branch. That's where the best, safest car in the world resides. That would be the Hyundais. Then there's Genesis of Olive Branch. Out of all the 355 dealers, top 50 in the country, top 10 in the region, 1 or 2 in the district, every month they take care of you. It starts with that product, which we talk about, that technology being so good and durable. Every new car gets a 10-year, 100,000-mile limited powertrain warranty. But then there's the extras. They want to raise the bar, which is why they are selling so many cars. It's because they will take care of you. Every new Hyundai, every new Genesis car, you get a 3-year, 36,000-mile maintenance package on them. They want to take care of you. That's real simple. They don't charge you for the oil change, the rotation of tires. It's a maintenance package, which is part of the deal. That's why you've got to go down and see this group that has been together for about 13 years. They understand how to take care of you. They have raised the bar at Highway 78 and Craft Road. First exit in Mississippi, turn left and go see Chris True and that gang that's been together forever at Homer Skelton Hyundai and Genesis of Olive Branch. When we come back, we'll shift our attention to the NBA, although we got to ask Andy Schiffman, who's going to win this? Who's the best player on this floor tonight? Is it Suggs? Is it Timmy? Or is it a Baylor Bear? Andy Schiffman has all those answers. They come your way in a minute.
Same great shows.
We welcome you back to Sports 56 Middays.
What's up? It's Sports 56 Happy Hour.
A new spot on the FM dial. Check out Sports 56 on our new FM home at 98.5.
I'm here with the great Pat Donahue from the Rendezvous Restaurant Shipping Department.
Thanks, Brett. We've been shipping our ribs all over the country now for decades from our USDA-inspected shipping kitchen in the Pinch District. We hand-cook our ribs in pits that Mr. Charlie built over charcoal, just like they do at the restaurant.
So what comes in a rib box?
We could do pork shoulder, we could do ribs, our sauce, seasoning, baked beans, coleslaw. We'll even throw in Pancho's cheese dip with our nacho boxes. We also put a bag of Rendezvous seasoned popcorn, heating instructions, some chef hats, some wet naps, and some other helpful tips from our kitchen. We ship our ribs overnight, exclusively FedEx. And we put them in nice packaging. We don't ever want to use styrofoam, so we use corrugated cardboard, actually 2 boxes that fit nice together, so the ribs get to you, your loved ones, or your clients in a safe, wholesome manner. Rendezvous ribs are perfect for out-of-town clients, customers, loved ones. We also ship ribs for any occasion.
Where do we order these great ribs?
You can go to www.hogsfly.com or give us a call at 1-888-464-7359.
Charlie Burgos' Rendezvous Restaurant in the alley since 1948.
Hi, this is John Conway with Conway Services. Are you ready for some warmer weather? I know I am. What about your air conditioning system? Is it ready for the hot Memphis summer? Good news, it's super tune-up time at Conway Services. We'll come out and perform our 16-point Energy Saver Super Tune-Up on your air conditioning system for only $69 with a free on-leak check. That's right, Conway Services exclusive 16-point Energy Saver Super Tune-Up for only $69 with a free on-leak check. We'll remove years of dirt, grime, and leaves from your air conditioning system. It's like taking your air conditioner to a car wash, all for only $69. If you have an air conditioner that leaks Freon every year, with Conway Services Super Tune-Up, we'll include a leak check at no charge. If that's not enough, we'll treat your unit with a special Teflon coating to help protect against the hot Memphis sun. So call Conway Services, the Mid-South's premier heating, cooling, plumbing, and electric service company at 384-3511. And call this week and ask for the early bird special, and we'll perform your Super Tune-Up for only $57.
Call 384-3511. Conway Services. Call Conway today.
Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
2021 is finally here. Might I suggest we start the wonderful new year with a makeover for your beautiful house. I'm Brian Elder. I'm a roofer. I fix roofs. Don't let them tell you that it has to be replaced when all it may need is some love. 867-0303. Let me love on your roof. I've made quite the reputation over the last decade as the guy to call after the insurance company denies the claim. Overturning a claim that has gone bad is an art form where you argue county code, manufacturer specs, and details of your policy that they have to abide by. So let me
see it first. If I say it's a claim, it's a claim. 867-0303. Money is free at Brian Elder Roofing with 0% financing for half a decade. I'll measure your roof from outer space and get you a quote right over the phone. 867-0303 or BrianElderRoofing.com.
Call 867-0303. Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
Listen Sundays at 11 a.m. to join Idlewild Presbyterian Church for worship. Idlewild is a PCUSA church located in Midtown Memphis.
Now, more of Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brad Norsworthy.
Welcome back in halfway through on this gorgeous Monday, Championship Monday. We got a trade. The Jets have traded Sam Darnold to the Panthers, creating a
There's two new quarterbacks.
To take a quarterback at number 2 in the 2021 NFL Draft. Wow.
So that'll be 2 new ones on opening day. I'm going to get close to my 14. I may not get there.
I don't know.
I really counted on Pittsburgh with Big Ben retiring, and that was kind of in my 14 math. I was counting on Jimmy G out in San Francisco, and it looks like he might be opening day.
You've always given up on Jimmy G. I just don't understand why.
I do. I give up on G too early.
You just don't love Jimmy G. We love those.
I don't have the love you had for him.
No.
I like there's been some girls I've known. I love them, and they just merely like me. You love him, and I just liked him.
Yeah, I think that is a fair way to put it. I don't know that he's totally lived up to my love either, but he's done okay. He got him moving.
I didn't live up to some of those girls' love either.
Yeah, well, that's the way life works, isn't it? We love talking to Andy Schiffman. Normally we talk to him on Fridays. We couldn't do it this past Friday, but we got him today, and it's a perfect day to do that. Grizz coming off a great game, but we got to talk a little bit about the NCAA championship tonight with Baylor and with Gonzaga. Who's going to win it, Andy Schiffman?
I want to say Gonzaga, but my head is telling me Baylor. Unfortunately.
Wow, really? That's 2 pickers in
a
row.
I got my guys Killian Tilly and Brandon Clark, both from Gonzaga. A number of Gonzaga guys in our roster. I'm really pulling for them, but I just think Baylor's just grittier. They're tougher. You saw how Gonzaga struggled against UCLA when the 3 wasn't dropping, and Baylor is very sound defensively. They probably have as many offensive weapons as Gonzaga does and as they've seen all year that are just as talented. Davion Mitchell, who is an NBA player, probably a first-round pick. Jared Butler, who's a potential first-round pick. And Matt Meyer, who is an exciting younger player that could be a draftable guy. May go back to school. He's a fringe guy right now, but they are very, very talented. So I think go ahead.
I'm just curious, of all the guys on the court, and that can be the bench, who's, from an NBA perspective, who's the best player on the court tonight? Most of the time, that player wins the championship.
I'm going to go with Corey Kispert.
Really?
And you might say, well, why aren't you saying Jalen Suggs?
I would have. He's not. I'm not sure he's my third guy because I think it's Suggs and Timmy.
But I can address that. So Timmy, first off, Dave, again, from an NBA, if you're projecting out how these guys translate. So Timmy is very, very good. He's a very, very good college player. He's extremely skilled around the post. He's not adept at shooting threes. He's not 6'11", 7 foot. He's not jacked where he's just going to be able to completely dominate inside at the next level when you're up against guys who are 6'10" and 6'11", nor will he, at least in my opinion, be able to step right in and prove he can guard NBA 4s and 5s. I don't think he quite has the perimeter game you want to see. So 25, 30 years ago, Timmy would be a top 5 pick in the NBA. But in today's NBA, he has to show he can step out and shoot threes and make plays on the perimeter and guard. And not to say he can't do it, but we haven't seen that from him yet. So to your point, not necessarily who's the best college player on the floor, but who is the best player for the NBA. That is my answer for Drew Timme. Jalen Suggs is going to be a top 3 pick in the NBA. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. But again, he's out there to make guys better. He's a very, very talented point guard. Teams are drafting him because he's very sound. He may not be the flashiest guy. He can knock down shots, and he's got size. He can see over smaller defenders. And I'm with teams on this. I think in a few years he's going to be an absolute stud. I think he'll be very good his first year in the NBA, and I think he's only going to get better. But for me, just in a vacuum of looking at who translates the best to the NBA, it is Kispert, because he checks all the boxes. He is a 3-level scorer, they say. Mid-range, at the rim, finishing, phenomenal outside shooter. He can shoot off the move from 3. He can catch and shoot. He can put it on the floor and shoot off the dribble. He can defend multiple positions. He's more athletic than people think. Like, for me, he has everything. Now, if he was a little more athletic and maybe 2 years younger, then maybe you're talking about him as a top 5 pick. If Jalen Suggs was a senior as opposed to a freshman, maybe he's not a top 3 pick. But just from talent alone, I'm going to go with Kispert. And it's not even to take away anything from the other guys on his team or to take anything away from Jared Butler or Davion Mitchell. Those guys are NBA players. But if I'm piecing together a team and I'm looking at, and I'm not saying I would take Corey Kispert over a Jalen Suggs, but just from translatable NBA skill sets, that's why I go with Corey.
Andy, both of these coaches, they've done it the old-fashioned way. A lot of hard work. They both had a lot of crummy riding buses jobs in the past, building all the way up to this big moment tonight. One of them is going to get their school in their very first national championship. I think we all would have agreed maybe Porter Moser would have been the answer to my question, but he left Loyola to go to OU. Yep. Any coaches out there building a model like few at Gonzaga, kind of outpost of college basketball, or like Drew doing it at Baylor, that's in a Power 5 conference, but you really never associated them with basketball power? Are there any coaches out there that 3 or 4 years from now we could be saying they drew off a few and Drew?
You're describing Alabama, what you just said. Football school, up-and-coming program, getting more and more talented players in there, relatively younger coach in Nate Oates. He was a high school coach just 6 or 7 years ago at Romulus in Detroit. Then he goes to Buffalo, takes them to the NCAA tournament. Now he's at Alabama. He's had success at Alabama, getting them to the Elite Eight. I mean, everything you just described, Brett, is Nate Oates in Alabama. Now, are they going to all of a sudden be a perennial top 3 team in years to come? They have to get players for that to happen. But look at what they've done this year, just really based off of their defense, because they don't have this offensive weapon that says give the ball to him and clear out like a Jalen Suggs, like a Jared Butler, and just go to work. I mean, they've got really good players in Herb Jones. I think Herb Jones is an NBA player. I think I love him defensively. I love his versatility. I think John Petty is an NBA player. But again, you're not looking at that roster and saying they have Colin Sexton as they used to have and just an absolute stud. And even when they had Colin Sexton, you weren't looking at an Elite Eight NCAA team. So I think what Nate's building in Alabama is really exciting. I think he's going to, I'm not going to say turn that school into a basketball school, because look, it's Alabama, but maybe get people more and more excited about basketball beyond just football with Nick Saban there. I really am excited about what Alabama is going to do for the future. I mean, you can sit there and talk about Houston. Houston's very good. Obviously, they play in the same conference as the Tigers, so you all see them quite a bit. I don't necessarily know they're going to turn into this every year top 5 program, big-time conference, unlike Alabama. And look, you can talk about these other teams that have made headway in the tournament. Oral Roberts, Loyola Chicago. There's been some coaching changes already. Those, you're always going to see teams like that. But again, you're talking about every year just the team to kind of think about Alabama, right? They're in a conference with LSU, with a Kentucky. I mean, these are some traditionally good, very good, obviously Kentucky, very good teams in the SEC, where Alabama really isn't talked about running the table in a league like that. And now with the, I would say, the subsiding of a team like Kentucky, maybe it's now Alabama's conference. Maybe they're stepping up. You know, Florida's another team in that conference that's very good, but maybe this is now Alabama's time.
You were talking with Andy Schiffman, our agent, who lives in Chicago now, and you mentioned Porter Moser, and you mentioned Loyola of Chicago, and he left to go to Oklahoma. Good for him. He's making $3 million a year. I don't think he was getting more than $600,000, right, at Loyola. So this is like 5 times the pay. So I'm pleased for him. Was that a good hire by Oklahoma? What's the talk around Chicago?
Well, I think it's a great hire. I mean, of course, Chicagoans are sad to see him leave because you remember the run they had a few years ago, which was just completely overtook the city in excitement. And I have no relation to Loyola Chicago. I didn't go to school there, but it was very fun to be a part of that here. And he did it again this year, getting some big-time wins in the program. So he deserves it. It's a great hire for him. And I don't know what direction exactly, the team at Loyola Chicago is going to go. You saw he hired Denzel Valentine's brother, Drew Valentine, as the next head coach. How is he going to take over the program, and what sort of success will he have remains to be seen. He was an assistant with Porter Moser, so there is some continuity there. But I think it's a great hire by Oklahoma. It's a great move by Porter to go to a significantly bigger conference, and you see that a lot. I do know from talking with people, I don't necessarily know how deep in conversation my alma mater, Indiana, was with Porter Moser, although there were a lot of IU fans that thought he could end up as the next IU head coach. The one that Porter Moser really wanted, I believe, was Marquette, and they nabbed Shaka Smart from Texas, who in turn grabbed Chris Beard from Texas Tech, which is a great hire. So you see the coaching carousel already starting here, but I think it's a great upward move by Porter Moser, and it's a great get by Oklahoma.
I'd rather have Oklahoma than Marquette. No offense. I like Milwaukee and everything else, but Oklahoma, come on.
Yep. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. It's exciting to see all these
football money.
Musical chairs. The other thing, too, is while we're on the topic of college basketball, this is more of me on my soapbox, I don't understand. I'd love to get your guys' opinion. I don't understand the plethora and the mass exodus of players transferring from good programs. And I told this to Penny. These three of the kids that transfer with Bow, Jeffries, and Boogie Ellis from the Tigers, you're all on a team that had success this year, that just won the NIT. You're all averaging at least around 20 minutes a game. Where are you going?
Yeah, got to play a bunch.
You're not a Division II school. You're not at Colgate, who's trying to get to the next level. You need more exposure. Like, I could understand that move. Or if you're not even playing at Memphis, like the one kid left who really wasn't playing much. But you're playing 20 minutes a night and you're starting in front of those fans at the FedEx Forum and an NBA arena on a team that gets national exposure. I just don't understand it. I've been listening to the wrong people. I think social media is partly to blame, but it just boggles my mind.
Well, we've talked this a bunch. It's a cultural thing that is here now. I don't know how long it'll last because.
But we begged for freedom for them, Dave.
I know.
What part of freedom did we not? Did we not understand, Andy? And I don't like it either. These guys played the 3rd, 4th, and 6th most minutes on the team this year, Andy. This wasn't guys riding the end of the bench going, "Hey, coach, put me in. Let me see what I can do."
Exactly, and that I can understand. I completely get that. It's lunacy to me, and I do absolutely think it's a lot of players listening to the wrong people, and that happens more and more. They see other players making moves in social media. They think, oh, this guy's declaring for the NBA. Well, I'm better than him, so I need to leave the situation I'm in. For what reason? Where do you think you're going? It just is beyond me, and I just really think it's negligent. And I'm in a business, and I'm in a position where my job is to help these young men make decisions, whether to come out, enter the NBA draft, whether to stay in school. And I'm not the type of agent to sit there and try and pull a kid out of school before it's time to go to the NBA and then end up on a 2-way contract or in the G League. But unfortunately, look, there's a lot of people that think that way, that whether it's an agent or just anyone else out there, a coach, AAU coach, telling players what they want to hear because they think that's how things should go and that's the right move for them, as opposed to taking a step back and looking at reality. Well, they had life pretty good there, and now they're giving that up. I just don't know where they're expecting to go. The only thing that could justify it is if you've got a player like that that's playing a lot, that's a senior, and the coaching staff already had to plan accordingly and did not expect these seniors to get a fifth year of eligibility through the NCAA waiver program. And they already gave that scholarship, or they're recruiting someone coming in to take your spot, take your position. If that's the case, okay, I understand it. But to my knowledge, that's not the case with men.
Two thoughts on what you just said. One, question. Who has had more fun, more notoriety, built up his brand, probably is more endorsable, Jalen Suggs or Jalen Green?
Absolutely. It's funny. I was talking about this with someone yesterday. Absolutely, Jalen Suggs. He is a household name after this game the other night. And someone sent me a tweet, something about the analytics of how much Jalen Suggs' name was trending after the game and after that shot Saturday night, in terms of, trending on social media, right?
Sure.
And the person that sent this to me said, this is really the only benefit of him going to a place like Gonzaga as opposed to going to the G League elite team play. I said, you're completely off. You're telling me you'd rather go and play in front of no fans against G League teams with no national television exposure for about a month, not even a month, as opposed to playing in the Final Four and the NCAA championship game.
He's on national TV every game. He became a star.
And just for a life experience.
Yeah,
look back in life and say,
Sure.
I played in the national
Yeah.
team. I look at this shot that I hit. Are you kidding me? It's a no-brainer.
And then the last thing is, and this is just philosophical culture now. When I was a kid, you wanted to play in college basketball. You wanted to make an NIT or an NCAA, because back then the NIT was still big. Okay? Now, that is not the goal of a top-notch player. A top-notch player doesn't care about playing in the NCAA. He only cares about playing in the NBA. And they forget 2%. That's all they're going to play in the NBA.
You're exactly right, but you said it best. It's a cultural thing, right? And so the evolution of everything we're talking about, social media, I can promise you, if there was no Twitter, if there was no Instagram, Facebook's more of a my generation thing. So 18-year-olds really aren't on Facebook a whole lot, to my understanding. But if you take away Twitter, you take away Instagram, it just completely changes the dynamic and the thought process of these kids, where they do care more about winning and being a part of a team and being a part of the NCAA tournament. Now it's all about, I'm going to post things where I can get likes, and I need to put things out there that promotes my brand, because this is what matters. And that's how, it's not a right or wrong thing. It's just, unfortunately, these are the times we're living in. And these players have been conditioned now, because it's just, everything is just comparing. I'm very happy that I did not grow up in that when I was in high school and when I was in college, but I just could only imagine being a top-level athlete with all this pressure, and every day you have people you've never met in your entire life, fans, chastising you, criticizing you, praising you, sending you messages, cursing at you on social media, missing a shot like the ridiculous story about E.J. Liddell getting death threats after Ohio State loses that game. Like, are you kidding me? This is where we're living. This is what it's come to. It's so toxic, not only in the sports world, but just in general, for all these reasons. And if you take that away, it's a completely different dynamic. The thought process of these kids absolutely is not what it is.
He's our friend Andy Schiffman. We'll talk about the playoffs and the Grizz, because if it ended today, they'd be the 8th seed.
What a win last night.
I know.
What a win last night.
It really was. We'll talk about that next week. Thank you, my friend. We appreciate it.
On Friday.
Or Friday.
Thanks,
We'll talk
Enjoy
Friday.
the game
That's right.
tonight.
Yeah.
Friday. Sounds good. Enjoy the game tonight. We'll talk Friday.
Thank you. Wonderful.
Thank you, Andy.
That is our friend Andy Schiffman. He's brought to you in part by Grind City Brewing. They're taking care of beerness in Memphis. By now, you know they are the makers of this wonderful beer that you can now get in Kroger called Tiger Tail. It is a craft malt liquor. It is the official craft beer of the University of Memphis, and it is all Memphis made. You know that Grind City Brewery sits high above the city in uptown Memphis. It's got this beautiful 15,000 square foot of beerness. The tap room is about 5,000 square feet. It is such an enjoyable place. And the weather now so good, you would gaze on the greenery outside, or you can go outside on their patio and just sort of take it all in and take in all these wonderful made-in-Memphis beers, including Tiger Tail, which has a bold and smooth flavor, about 7.5% alcohol, and this finish that is so incredibly easy drinking. Tiger Tail and Grind City Brewing, now in Kroger. They're taking care of beerness in Memphis. We're back in a minute. We'll talk a little bit about the latest rumors, what's going around with the Tigers and the transfer portal. That comes your way next on Sports Time.
Listen online anywhere, anytime at sports56whbq.com.
Looking for a great place to deposit your money? Try First Bank. Competitive CD rates, a money market that moves with Wall Street prime and interest-bearing checking account options. Not to mention their friendly bankers who make decisions locally. To find out more, stop by one of First Bank's 3 local branches. 6482 Poplar Avenue, just east of International Paper. 8398 Highway 64 across from Wolf Chase, and 6280 Highway 64 in Oakland. Or visit firstbankonline.com. Member FDIC.
Texting enrolls you into reoccurring automated text messages. Message and data rates may apply.
Come on, one more rep. You got this.
10.
There it is. Nice work, man. You're a beast.
Thanks, man. I feel better than I have in years. And I got to tell you, taking Nugenix makes a huge difference for me.
Nugenix? That's the testosterone booster with TV ads with Frank Thomas. The big hurt, right?
Oh, yeah. The patented key ingredient is testofen, which helps boost free testosterone levels and increase lean muscle mass.
Well, it's clearly working for you. Hey, are they still giving out complimentary bottles for people to try it for themselves?
Yeah, Nugenix is a great way to increase lean muscle and feel stronger with more energy and endurance.
Man, I need to get a complimentary bottle of Nugenix.
No problem. You just got to send them a text. Text both to 42424 right now for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix, the #1 selling free testosterone booster at GNC. Plus, text now and we'll include a bottle of new Nugenix Thermo, our most powerful fat incinerator ever, to help get you back into shape fast, absolutely free. Text BOTH to 42424. That's both to 42424.
If you're going on vacation, making a college campus visit, or if business takes you out of town, there's just no better place to board your dog than Barks and Recreation, 965 Ruddock Cove between Bud Davis Cadillac and the Blue Plate Cafe in East Memphis. Boarding, daycare, grooming, we have the best of everything at Barks. Indoor-outdoor kennels so your family member can go in and out as they please. Indoor and outdoor play areas. 4 walks a day, group play, and individual attention from the best staff in the Mid-South, which includes an overnight staff to ensure the safety and comfort of your pet 24 hours a day. All reasons to choose Barks and Recreation above all other boarding and daycare facilities. BarksDaycare.com or 509-0909. Check us out and make your reservations now at BarksDaycare.com. If your dog could speak, he'd say Barks.
Do you know one of the best things you can do for your employees or family's health? Provide Arctic Clear bottled water. Arctic Clear bottled water is your locally owned and operated bottled water provider. Arctic Clear is 100% natural spring water with free delivery and setup, dependable service, and no long-term contracts. What an easy choice. Call Jeff Manus today, 901-382-2363, or visit arctic-clear.com. Arctic Clear bottled water. Call now, 382-2363. That's 382-2363.
Now, more of Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brad Norsworthy.
We've talked today a lot about the transfer portal. Tigers obviously lost 4. Jordan Nesbitt is announced now he is going to St. Louis. We haven't heard the announcements on Damian Baugh, on Boogie Ellis or DJ Jeffries yet. Most people think that Baugh is, not Baugh, but Boogie is going to San Diego State and Jeffries is going to go to Mississippi State, which I don't know if that style fits great with Ben Howland, but if that's what DJ, who really started to come out at the end of the year and is really a delightful young man, so is Boogie. If that makes them happy, I guess that is what is best for them, and I wish them the very
We're for
best.
ball.
Sure.
Any rumors?
I don't know. There was our friend Brooks Hansen had put that one of the guys that were in the transfer portal was going to come back. Then he took that down. A lot of people were thinking it was Baugh. I don't know. We do know that Davion Warren, who led the Big South and Hampton in scoring 21 points a game last year, is coming, and 6.3 rebounds. He's got a big body. He's the kind of guy that Penny really likes, a big guard who can play multiple spots, including point. I don't think he's going to be the point guard, but he fits the bill. He fits the bill for exactly the kind of player that I think Penny is looking for, and maybe that's the Jeffries role, which would be terrific. I know there's all kinds of rumors out that they're going on right now. Devin Askew, the big guard from Kentucky, he's entered the portal. There is a relationship that the Tigers, and I think Cody Toppert has with him. There is word now. We know that entering the portal was Chandler Lawson, one of the Lawson brothers, the third in the chronology of age of Keelan Lawson, the third son, who was at Oregon. He's entered the portal, and apparently the U of M and Penny have talked with him. And then Jonathan Lawson has asked for, and it was reported he got his release. He was the 4-star big guard who played for Penny at East and then went with his father to Wooddale and then went and won a state championship for Mike Miller at Houston this year. He has been granted his release, so he and Chandler probably will go to the same place, and there's been a discussion with Penny. So there's plenty that could happen, and I think there is enough scholarship space for those guys. Would the Lawsons excite you?
Doesn't do a lot for me. I'm sorry, it doesn't.
Well, there certainly is athleticism, and there's a relationship, I think, that would be better, obviously, with the Lawsons with Penny than there was with Tubby Smith. But you're right; it didn't work the first time. That is for certain. And
quit me once.
Those were guys that were given playing time and won awards, and decided they didn't like it. So we'll see.
Think about this, Dave, though. Of all the people the Tigers have lost through the years, who really left here and went somewhere and really burned the Tigers, made them look bad with their departure? Kind of the same they were here was kind of the same they were, if that good, wherever they went to, including Diedrich.
Well, the Tigers never played him at Kansas. I think he had an okay.
But you didn't sit around and pine going, boy, I wish we still had him.
Well, I certainly would have been better if he had stayed, no doubt about that. But not if you're going to quit on the team like that, like the two brothers did in Houston. That was so awful that 1 year, or at SMU. I'm sorry, in Dallas. This final
is disgraceful.
This final portion of the show brought to you by Conway Services, heating, cooling, plumbing, electric, Roto-Rooter stuff, and of course the tankless. How old is your water heater? With most water heaters in the Mid-South, it's located in the attic. Worst day to replace your water heater is 1 day too late. That means it burst and all that water came down. It's time for a tankless. It's the new technology that saves you money on your gas bill every month because you only will pay for the water you're using at that time, and it never runs out of hot water. I don't care how many people in your family take a shower, you never run out. Right now, John will give you a tankless water heater for as low as $79 a month, or he'll give you $300 for your antiquated old tanked water heater. Why don't you give him a call, 384-3511, 384-3511. That's Conway Services, heating, cooling, plumbing, and electric. One more expert will ask who will win. Everybody's saying Baylor. What will Blake Lovell from Blue Ribbon Magazine say? Hang on, he comes your way next.
Kelly Erb and I love selling homes. I'm Sheldon Rosengarten, and we are both with Marks Bensdorf Realtors. We sell homes from the river to Germantown and everywhere in between.
And Sheldon, don't forget, we sell in all different price range, all the way up and over $1 million in River Oaks. But we also love selling homes and condos to first-time home buyers in Midtown, High Point, and the University of Memphis area.
And people aren't aware how much they need our experience and expertise when they're selling their homes. This involves preparation, presentation, and proper pricing combined with our highly successful strategic marketing program with the Shellbucks option. It's hard to beat that combination and our combination.
That's right. And if you or someone you know is thinking about selling, remember what people often say, that when you want the job done, call Sheldon and Kelly, of course.
You can reach us 24/7 at MemphisRelocate.com or 682-1868. That's 682-1868 or MemphisRelocate.com. Kelly Erb or Sheldon Rosengarten.
Do it now.
Hi, this is Troy Five-Ash, owner of Five-Ash Roof Services. You've heard me talk about how we offer the best products, the best warranties, and the best services for years. Now let's talk about pricing. Pricing should never be the only reason you hire a contractor, but in today's world, pricing is always a consideration. So we suggest you get 2 or 3 estimates for your roof replacement from a reputable, licensed, and insured company, and then give us a call. If we can't beat your best price for a comparable roof system by more than $100, we'll give you $100. It's that simple. We are so sure we can offer you the best price, beating all other qualified companies, we will hand you $100 if we can't. And thank you for the opportunity. So give us a call. What's the worst thing that's going to happen? Make $100? Five-Ash Roof Services, a proud supporter of Tiger Athletics and the official roofer of the Tigers home team. Five-Ash Roof Services, fair, honest, and ethical. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com.
Five-Ash Roofing, it's what we do. We're here for you.
If ever there was a time for comfort food, this is it. And there's no comfort food like Sunrise on Jefferson. Fresh-made breakfast featuring Sunrise's signature homemade square biscuits or the huge selection of hot, fresh, and fast lunch items are all part of what has always made Sunrise the most comforting of comfort foods in Memphis. Of course, everything that can be done to keep you and the staff safe at Sunrise is a top priority. And you can always order ahead and get delicious Sunrise to go. At a time this confusing, it's good to know there's one thing you can count on: Sunrise.
Hi, this is Rob Brown. Join us every Saturday morning on Sports 56 WHBQ from 8 to 10 a.m. and 96.1 FM and the new FM 98.5. We'll be covering the Memphis Tigers, the SEC, college football, college basketball, college baseball. We'll look into recruiting. We'll have guests from around the country with the latest news, the most knowledgeable people out there, the coaches, the players, the people who play the games. Don't forget to join us on the sidelines. Sports 56, 96.1, and the new FM 98.5.
We are Sports 56 WHBQ Memphis, W253DF Memphis, and WIVG Tunica Memphis. Flynn Broadcasting Stations. Welcome back to Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wallo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by DeSoto Auto Sales. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brett Norsworthy.
Final hour on this Monday, Championship Monday. Baylor versus Gonzaga tonight. It's title time. Somebody will cut the nets down tonight, and FanDuel Sportsbook, they can hook you up like a champion. They are celebrating the big game with 40-1 odds on either team. That's right, new users get 40-1 odds on either team to win the championship game. You can win $200 on a $5 bet. You've been watching from the sidelines all tournament long, and now is the perfect time to get in on the action. Get off the sidelines and get in on the action. All you have to do is download the FanDuel Sportsbook app and make your first deposit to unlock exclusive 40-1 odds. The app is so easy to use, and when you win, you'll get paid in as little as 24 hours. Just sign up with promo code CASH so they know I sent you. That's FanDuel Sportsbook. Promo code CASH. Must be 21 or older and present in Tennessee. New users only. Must wager in designated offer market. $10 first deposit required. See full terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. For problem gambling support, call 1-800-889-9789. This hour of our show brought to you by DeSoto Auto Sales. They're down on Goodman Road at 5704 Goodman Road and very proud to serve DeSoto County and the surrounding area. Go online and look at all the beautiful cars and check out all the many happy referrals at DeSotoAutosales.com. All the cars test driven, all checked out bumper to bumper, unlimited inventory, every make, every model, no shortcuts taken at DeSoto Auto Sales. And if by chance they don't have the car you want on the lot, they'll go find it for you. When you walk in, you're treated like family by kind, courteous employees, laid-back atmosphere. down home environment, and they care about your time and want you to enjoy the ultimate car experience because they know we live in a world today that time really matters. You find the car you want, test drive that car, credit approved, paperwork completed, all done in 45 minutes or less in time that you can do it over your lunch hour or like right now in time to get that new car, head home and watch the national championship game tonight. Visit their website, DeSotoAutoSales.com. Give them a call at 662-890-7184. But better yet, get to 5704 Goodman Road to DeSoto Auto Sales, that town and country experience down in DeSoto County.
We got a great text on the First Bank text line. That new number, 70236-7236, who says Gonzaga's comparable players, Timmy to Kevin Love. I don't buy that one because he can't shoot like Kevin Love could. But this one I get. Suggs equals Derrick Rose. And I have said that's the guy that I have been reminded of all year long. I think he's a better shooter than Derrick Rose. I'm not sure he's quite as explosive, but certainly close enough. His vision, he may even be a better passer than Derrick Rose. You buy that comparison?
I'm with you on the first one for sure. I don't think Timmy is Love. And on the second one, I'm mostly with you. Do we even play like this anymore? Can he take the contact and still get to the basket like Derrick Rose could?
Oh, I think he can. He's a football player. The guy was going to be a great quarterback.
Renown.
Yeah, there's no question about that. We love chatting with our friend from Blue Ribbon Magazine. That is Blake Lovell, who joins us. And we've asked everybody today, who do you like in this game? And I'll start with who's the best player. Is it Suggs or is it somebody else?
Well, guys, I think to me, you got a lot to choose from, don't you? I think I would probably pick Jalen Suggs, but I also don't want to discount Jared Butler, Davion Mitchell. I think that those two guys are so good that I think they can do enough to help Baylor win this game. It's tough. I just think that for Jalen Suggs, like you just talked about, I mean, he's just when he made some of those, we're not even talking about the game-winning shot, but you just saw him make some of the moves he made in that game against UCLA, which he's made them all season, but just some of the things he can do with the ball are really impressive. So I would probably pick him one, but I'm telling you, not to knock Drew Timmy, but I just think Jared Butler and Davion Mitchell are fantastic, and I think I would maybe even put them right there a little bit behind Suggs, just based on what they're capable of.
Did you think Suggs would be this good?
I don't know that I thought it'd be this good. No, I can't say I did. And it's just one of those where I think early in the season you could tell as soon as you watch them play, like you could see it. And I think it was so hard to project because, like with a lot of freshmen coming into the season, we didn't know kind of what the circumstances would be. Would it take some of these guys a little while based on the lack of normal off season and all this other stuff? But I think as soon as you saw him early in the season, you knew, you're like, all right, this guy's special, and he's going to be someone that if they are going to win the national championship, he's going to be the guy that's probably going to have to be the driving force for what they do.
So based on what you just said with Mitchell and Butler, are you saying that even though it is Gonzaga that is 4.5-point favorites in this game, are you saying you think Butler wins?
Well,
Baylor wins, excuse me.
I think that what we saw, here's what stood out to me in the UCLA game was, how did UCLA get their points? They attacked. Like they, one-on-one off the dribble, they proved that you can beat Gonzaga one-on-one off the dribble. And with all due respect to UCLA's guards, they don't have a Jared Butler and Davion Mitchell. And so now if you take that a next step forward against the Gonzaga team that, like it or not, I mean, look, I know we sometimes use the AAU example. These kids play 4 games in a day and all this other stuff, but you can't tell me that Gonzaga isn't a little bit, at least a little bit, emotionally and physically drained from that game on Saturday night. Their toughest game of the entire season goes to overtime. I know it's a late tip tonight. Maybe we're overplaying this, but I think there's something to it. I have no doubt. Baylor's the best shooting team in the country. They have 2 of the best guards in the entire country. They have one of the quickest guards. I tell you, I've seen it best. What Davion Mitchell can do off the dribble, I don't know if there's many people that can. Like, that guy can take one dribble from 30 feet out and he's at the rim. And so I think they're going to attack them. And if they were to get one of those guards, two of those guards, Timmy, any of those guys in foul trouble, I mean, Gonzaga's bench they don't have much of a bench. I think that's one of the things, too, with the Zags is that's something you see. If they have to bring some of these guys in, it kind of levels the playing field a bit because their bench just doesn't get a lot of work. So I think that's going to be the plan for Baylor. They're the best shooting team. Now, if they're missing shots, it's game over. I think they've got to be able to hit shots just like UCLA did from outside. But if they're hitting their threes like they normally do, and they have the option of Jared Butler or Davion Mitchell attacking all those guys off the dribble, I mean, Baylor's got a chance to win this thing.
Yeah, and the different styles that Baylor's won in and against different style teams, that game against Wisconsin was a masterpiece. I think only 4 turnovers, and Wisconsin kind of had them roped into their kind of game. Baylor still able to really dispatch them fairly easily. And then the game against Villanova when Scott Drew had to go to a zone, and then even against Arkansas's athleticism. Now, I thought Arkansas played almost perfectly in that game and ended up losing by 9 or so points. It was really closer than that in the end. But Baylor's won in a lot of different ways. I love a team that can beat you a lot of ways. That's when you're really good, is when you can play their game and beat you, and then, of course, beat you playing kind of, air quotes here, our game.
Yeah, I think they are one that can certainly do that. If there's one thing I would say, I think we saw early on, at least in the Gonzaga-UCLA game, I mean, what worked for UCLA was slowing the game down. And like I said, it wasn't necessarily going in transition early. It was slowing the game down and then saying, all right, our guys one-on-one can beat you. You may score a lot of points on the other end, but you know what? We can already tell we can take your guys off the dribble. And I wouldn't be surprised, even though Baylor likes to play up tempo too. I mean, I think for Gonzaga, that's what they want. If Baylor wants to get up and down the floor, the Zags will welcome that because that's exactly how they want to play. But like you said, the fact is Baylor can play in multiple different ways. And I think it'd be interesting to see what their approach is on that because certainly they have the guards to get up and down the floor. And they have the athletes. I mean, again, we're not even talking about Teague and all these other guys who are going to contribute too, but they've got the athletes to run up and down the floor and get to the rim, and like we said, potentially get guys in foul trouble. Because I feel like that has to be the priority here. Like, you have to attack and hope to get Drew Timme in foul trouble at the rim, or let's say Suggs is guarding one of these guys, and you try to get him in foul trouble with a little bit of contact and aggressiveness. That's the thing about Baylor; they're one of the most physical teams in the country, and I think that's something too when we talk about the physical aspect of a team that. Had to play basically, and this is not to knock Houston, but Baylor had to play basically a 20-minute game. Gonzaga had to play a 45-minute game. It's kind of one of those situations where I think that physicality, the aggressiveness Baylor's going to bring, honestly, guys, I still think Gonzaga's going to win, but I think it's going to be down to the wire. And I just think that there's a lot of things, if you want to find the reasons Baylor can beat them, I think these are the reasons we would have brought up even without the game against UCLA, but I think having that game now as a reference point, they kind of accentuate some of those things you already thought could be a reason why Baylor could win.
Well, Baylor looked like a world beater. There's no question that what they did to Houston was surprising to me. I thought Baylor would win that game. I didn't think they would win it the way that they did. I thought Houston would be able to stay with them. But you talk about that physicality because that is what Houston does. And the one thing in this game, and this is where I think Timme makes a world of difference, and even for that matter Suggs, is that I don't believe Baylor will be able to offensive rebound the way they did in the game against Houston. I think that's going to be a big barometer in this game. If they can get all those second chance points by crashing the way they did, then they'll beat Gonzaga. I just don't think that they'll be able to do that, not with guys like Timme, who come in there and will do the job. But most of our guest pickers, to my surprise, have gone with Baylor tonight. And look, this is what we kind of expected. This is the number 1 overall seed against the number 2 overall seed.
Yeah, I think, and I can understand, again, why most people are picking them. Because, like you said, I think there is a point where I just look at it and feel the same. And, like, I look at how those two games played out, different opponents, different scenarios, but I do think you saw some of the weaknesses exposed for Gonzaga that really hadn't been there most of the year. At least, some teams tried to game plan for it, but it didn't work out. And it was going to take a perfect game plan, but not just a perfect game plan. It was going to take a perfect night offensively for a team to be able to keep up with them. And that's kind of what you got from UCLA. I mean, they shot, 62% from two. They shot 47% from three. Didn't really turn it over a ton. I think I'm with you, though, on the one thing about Baylor offensive forwards. Like, if they're not hitting their shots like they normally do from outside, if they're not shooting a high rate from three and they don't get offensive rebounds, I mean, Gonzaga could win this game by double digits, I think, in that scenario. Because I still think, even with the way that game played out, and even if you have concerns about maybe Gonzaga from a stamina standpoint, all those other things, they're still going to score. Like, they're going to find a way to score points. I don't care. I just cannot see a scenario where Gonzaga's not going to be able to score. Even against the Baylor team, like we said, it's very physical. They're going to guard, and they've got the length to be able to challenge them on a lot of different things. But Gonzaga has too many options. So there's going to be at least one or two guys that are going to get some points in this game. But I'm still going to stick with the Zags. I just think you have to show me that somebody can do this before, because I thought it was UCLA. Like, there's so many times in that game where I thought UCLA's going to win this thing. Like, I thought it was over. But somehow, some way, Gonzaga found a way to win. And now, does that get that pressure off their back? Even though there's pressure here to finish it, because if not, people are going to remember you losing in the championship game. They're not going to remember you as one of the greatest teams of all time. If you do win, you're going to be in that category. So I think there's a pressure there, but I do wonder if just having that game play out the way that it did takes some of that pressure away from Gonzaga, because now they can kind of start fresh and go up against a team that, this is kind of that anticipated matchup we've all been waiting for.
Blake, there was a time in my life where I didn't think I would ever feel sorry for UCLA, most notably March 26, 1973, when they beat the Memphis Tigers. I was pulling so hard for Larry Finch and company that night. But this is how hard it is to beat Gonzaga. UCLA shot 58% from the field, 47% from three-point line, out-rebounding Gonzaga by 6, committed just 10 turnovers in 45 minutes, and still lost.
Yeah, that's the thing. Is like I can't pinpoint any reason why I think UCLA lost that game, other than the fact that just Gonzaga scored more points. Like, that's it. Like, I feel like they did everything right for the most part. They missed a couple free throws. You could always look back at that. But, I mean, I thought they did everything they had to do. I thought the game plan was absolutely perfect as it gets. Like I said earlier, I mean, they came out, they're going to slow the game down, they're going to try to play their way, and they're going to attack you off the dribble. And as soon as you could tell, like, in the first couple minutes of that game, like, you saw them in the first couple minutes, you're saying, oh, my goodness, like, this is what they're going to do. And you're like, this could actually work, because you're seeing them slow the tempo. You're seeing them realize that they can go one-on-one against some of these guys that are really good offensive players, but maybe some of these guys defensively struggle a little bit just in terms of on-the-ball defense, off the dribble, that kind of stuff. And I mean, they did everything right. And they just, again, it's just where Gonzaga was the team with the last possession, and that's what it came down to.
That's it. You got it.
I mean, that was it.
They were the last one with the ball. That
yeah.
You win.
That's how it worked out.
Yeah.
And I thought Mick Cronin did just a masterful job of everything. Just having his guys in the position. You go to the guy who got you there in Johnny Juzang, and everyone else stepped up. I mean, that's the thing, is Juzang's going to get all the credit, but you can't discount all these other guys stepping up too and what they brought to the table. Cody Riley, Jaquez, Tiger Campbell, all those other guys. They just all brought something, and I'm with you. I mean, I felt like, that felt like the national championship with the way the game played out. But you know what? Now we get another one against the most anticipated game of the year.
No question. All right, today, North Carolina stayed in the family. They hired longtime assistant to Roy Williams, Hubert Davis, as their guy. We've seen Shaka Smart to Marquette. We've seen Porter Moser to Oklahoma. What's the best coaching move you've seen so far? And there have been a lot of already.
Boy, that's a good one. I think the best one for me is Chris Beard to Texas. I just think that's the easiest one, because that automatically, to me, transforms Texas into, they're going to be a top 10 team every year now. I would be surprised if they're not. I just can't really see them going anywhere but forward and probably having a chance to compete for a Final Four, for many years to come now with him there. So that to me is the best one. I think when you look at it overall, I think if you're Oklahoma, replacing Lon Kruger with Porter Mosier, that's not bad either. I know Kruger, we've always talked about one of the most respected coaches in the game. Now you go to what is arguably, if not the best, one of the best up-and-coming coaches, if you want to call it that anymore, a guy who's already proven that he can succeed at the highest level in terms of what he can do for his team and have them in position to win these kind of games in March. So I think that's huge for Oklahoma, for them. And really, some of the others, I think the Hubert Davis one is, a lot of us looked at it and said, well, if you're North Carolina, you swing for some of the big names. If you can't get them, it's North Carolina. Like, they've always wanted to kind of stay in-house there. And I'm glad, for someone like Hubert Davis just getting an opportunity to see, Roy Williams. I feel like he probably had a lot of input on that and really pushed and kind of groomed him for this spot, knowing eventually this was going to be a scenario. So I'm very curious to see kind of how that plays out for them there as well.
Any more retirements? Would we wake up to the unthinkable and Coach K or Jim Boeheim or Tom Izzo stepping away?
Yeah, I think we're at that point now to where, you can't be surprised by these, really. And I think, too, it's not just an age thing. Like, I think there is something to Roy Williams, part of it being that we are entering a new landscape in college basketball. We've been heading towards this direction for a couple of years now. And I think once this, one-time transfer rule and all that, it's going to change everything in terms of, coaches. You look at the numbers. Like, the numbers are only going up. I haven't even checked their most recent number on to the terms of transfers and all that this year. I want to say it's probably over 1,200 by now. That breaks the record from last year, whatever it was. I think it was 1,000 something. So this is it. Like, this is the direction you're going in. And if teams, on average now, when you look at that 1,200, it averages out to about, I think, 3.5 per team that are leaving. It's a different nature, man. It's a much different game now, and it's a much different way to coach, I think, in terms of the different things you have to juggle. So I can't say I'd be surprised if you see some more guys like that, maybe from the more old school type way, or the way they knew college basketball, eventually stepping away here in the next year or two.
The numbers this year will be higher than they'll ever be, right? Because it's a one-time deal. So everybody across the board can make their move right now. After that, it should, I think, slow down. Here's my question.
It should.
I think by sheer statistics it has to.
It has to, yeah.
But my question is this. So you get the one-time transfer without penalty. Does that take away a grad exception? So, in other words, let's just say you go to a school the first year and you don't play, and then you start. Well, everybody's playing, so that's not going to work. But you go the first year, you're unhappy, you transfer to another school, you go through all these summers, and you stay and you graduate. You get to 4 years in, but you got another year of eligibility. Are you going to then get to transfer again without having to sit out if you're a grad student?
That's a good question, because I think I'm not sure how they have that set up, because I feel like they still have
compliance on line two. Compliance on line two.
If anybody knows that answer, text us at 70236.
Yeah,
I'm
there
serious,
you go.
because then you would
get
get double
airtime.
exceptions.
Yeah.
You'd end up with kids who could play at basically 3 different schools without ever having to sit out a year. And look, if that's what is judged fair by the guys that play the game, then that's what we'll have to live with.
Yeah, no, and that's one of the reasons. Like I said, I think that this year or the next season, it'll be officially the 21-22 season. But I think that's going to bring about some frustration with coaches. We already know it, but then we know what else is looming too in terms of the name, image, and likeness stuff, and how that can completely transform the game in terms of how coaches go about recruiting, what type of players Are you going to start losing players because they're getting more offers for better sponsorship here or there and all this stuff? Like, I think someone like Roy Williams, you could tell, like it had to be something that was weighing on his mind. And like I said, I would be surprised if there are a lot of other coaches that kind of, follow suit in that same situation. So,
who's made out the best out of this transfer portal so far? Do we have any idea, or that's just way too early in the process?
I mean, it's impossible to know, right? Because it's like literally every 5 minutes, I think you see another guy that is transferring out, and it's hard to know. I mean, there's some teams that have lost half the roster. There are some teams that are, basically trading players. I mean, you're just having guys go here and there, and I don't even know who I would even start with to say that's had the best, what they've done with the transfer. I mean, I'll tell you one guy actually that's doing really well, Andy Kennedy at UAB. I mean, he's brought in some former SEC guys. He's brought in a couple there. He got another guy today. That's somebody that's really doing a good job with the transfer portal. I think he's gonna, he did a really good job this year there at UAB. But that's definitely a program to keep an eye on here moving forward, because I think UAB's they're gonna have a shot. Certainly to make the tournament every year, but he's building that roster the way he wants.
Not so fast, my friend. What if Kennedy goes to Cincinnati?
Well, hey, if he does, then that's going to be interesting.
He'd take him with him.
He's already proven he can get guys, so he'll just go in and grab some more if that's the case. So, yeah.
Blake, I like what Eric Musselman's already doing, getting the player from Pitt.
Yeah, that was good. When Tony from Pitt, he's that's you look at the profile of this kid, and like he's the Eric Musselman type in terms of the way he plays offense and the things that he's going to bring to the table. So yeah, he's a guy that I think from the beginning we all kind of looked at and said, oh yeah, he's probably going to have a good chance to go to Arkansas, because he felt like kind of that Eric Musselman type player. So
last thing for our friend Blake Lovell from Blue Ribbon Magazine, and that's Davion Warren from Hampton in the Big South, led the league in scoring. Memphis got him. Musselman wanted him. He was one of those guys that Muss was going after. What do you know about him? What do you think of that get from Memphis?
Yeah, I mean, like you said, if a situation like that where you bring in a guy that could score the way he did, and that's I get it. Like, it's hard sometimes to kind of look at players and say, well, how is it going to translate when you score at one level, in a place like Hampton, to how does it translate to a place like Memphis? But I mean, this guy, he did take a lot of shots, but there were times too where he was pretty efficient though at times. I mean, I think he would like his 3-point numbers to be a little bit more efficient, but somebody who just has a knack for scoring, to me, there's always going to be value there. And I think you can teach some of the other stuff, but a guy that just knows how to score, and he's someone that's played a lot of minutes, I think that's something you can lean on, I think, if you're Memphis, because you could build the other stuff around him, but he at least has a knack for knowing how to score. So,
as always, my friend, we appreciate it. Been a great year, that is for sure. And enjoy the game tonight.
Thanks, guys.
That is our friend Blake.
Thank you, Blake.
Lovell from Blue Ribbon Magazine. There is one other transfer today we have not mentioned. Houston landed UConn transfer big man Josh Carlton, who's a pretty good player. So he'll be back in the American. He started in the American.
Dave?
Yeah.
Yeah, I had a basketball person of some renown that really thought the player the Tigers got from Hampton might go to Arkansas. Now, it'd be easy to say best player on the 7th best team in the Big South, but you know who this person compared him to?
Who?
Rajon Tucker.
Wow. Well, I would take that.
That cat could play.
That kid could really play. If this kid is as good as Rajon Tucker, then Memphis has got themselves a dandy. And I will say this.
And what did I say all year about DeAndre Williams? He knows how to play.
Yeah.
And this is what that person was telling me about this player from Hampton. He knows how to play.
Well, now you got me more excited. That is for sure. And we'll see what else Penny has up his sleeve. Let's take a timeout. When we come back, we're going to try to sort through, and I guess we're going to make our picks, right? But we're going to sort through, and boy, it was hard with Gonzaga. Did you have a hard time with Gonzaga?
I had a hard time with Gonzaga because it was such a bountiful harvest. I had a tough time with Baylor because it wasn't anybody.
I know. Well, there's a few, but it was not. You're right. I mean, and the thing that's really incredible, honestly, about Gonzaga is all these kids have come in the last 20, 25 years. That's how good that program has been.
And Dave, I'm going to say now, I don't have John Stockton on here, and I'll tell you why. Nobody knew who John Stockton was until he got to the NBA. Nobody even knew he played at Gonzaga.
I got him, and I'll tell you exactly why. Drew, you got your list?
I've got my list,
okay.
And I asked Brett if I could put Brittany Griner on for Baylor because nobody comes to mind. That's how bad Baylor basketball history is.
That's a really great idea.
That is. And you know what? She could have probably played for some of those Baylor teams.
Dave, man, you saw some bad. I mean, some of those. Which Iba was it there? Gene Iba? One of the Ibas was at Baylor. Boy, it was hard to watch in that arena. You think Hofheinz was dimly lit? Man, it looked like the sun compared to Heart of Texas.
It was Gene Iba.
When I did the my year of Texas A&M, that arena, that conference,
A&M was no palace.
That conference had terrible arenas.
Oh, Dave.
Terrible
Autry Court
arena. My favorite arena was in Arkansas.
Barnhill.
Barnhill Arena was my favorite, and it was not the greatest lit arena ever either.
It was no Taj Mahal.
No, but it was intimate, and it was interesting. I can tell you that. Kind of like what you'll find at Homer Skelton Hyundai and Genesis of Olive Branch. You'll find great teamwork from the team that sells, that's been there for 13 years. Of course, it's got to start with the product, right? You can't beat the product. It's that simple. Hyundai, safest car in the world. And then the best bang for your buck of any luxury car. I'm not kidding. Go try and drive one. You'll see. Best bang for your buck of any luxury car. That's Genesis and Genesis of Olive Branch. Right now, G70s, G80s, G90s, they're there. You got to wait a little bit still to get the SUV, but they've got more coming, and in fact, they've got a smaller SUV. The one I'm referring to is the GV80. The GV70 is coming soon. You know this product. I mentioned the safety, but it's durable. Every car gets a 10-year, 100,000-mile limited powertrain warranty. On top of that, the way they've raised the bar for service, every new car, every Hyundai, every Genesis, you will end up with a 3-year, 36,000-mile maintenance package on the house. They will take care of you, I promise. If you get on Lamar into Mississippi, it's Craft Road is the first exit. That's Highway 78 and Craft Road. Turn left. You're there in 10 minutes. You'll see what everybody is raving about because you will have arrived at Homer Skelton Hyundai and Genesis of Olive Branch. Back with our top 5 players from each program, Gonzaga and Baylor. That comes your way in a minute.
Sports 56 mornings with Peter Edmiston and Anthony Sane. Weekday mornings from 7 till 10 on Sports 56, 98.5, and 96.1.
I'm here with the great Pat Donahue from the Rendezvous Restaurant Shipping Department.
Thanks, Brett. We've been shipping our ribs all over the country now for decades from our USDA-inspected shipping kitchen in the Pinch District. We hand-cook our ribs in pits that Mr. Charlie built over charcoal, just like they do at the restaurant.
So what comes in a rib box?
We could do pork shoulder, we could do ribs, our sauce, seasoning, baked beans, coleslaw. We'll even throw in Pancho's cheese dip with our nacho boxes. We also put a bag of Rendezvous seasoned popcorn, heating instructions, some chef hats, some wet naps, and some other helpful tips from our kitchen. We ship our ribs overnight, exclusively FedEx. And we put them in nice packaging. We don't ever want to use styrofoam, so we use corrugated cardboard, actually 2 boxes that fit nice together. So the ribs get to you, your loved ones, or your clients in a safe, wholesome manner. Rendezvous ribs are perfect for out-of-town clients, customers, loved ones. We also ship ribs for any occasion.
Where do we order these great ribs?
You can go to www.hogsfly.com or give us a call at 1-888-464-7359.
Charlie Burgos' Rendezvous Restaurant in the alley since 1948.
Hey, I heard that you just got a new car.
Yes, I sure did, and I could not believe how simple it was.
Really? Tell me what happened.
I bought my car at Cars Inc. They are family owned, and the choices of cars were the best I've ever seen. They even said they could price match with anyone and help me with whatever financing I needed.
Wow, it does sound like they know what they are doing.
Their family has been in the car business for over 30 years, and they're excited about being in Memphis.
Where are they?
5095 Cummington Way, and their phone number is 901-623-7180.
I'm so excited that baseball is back. There's nothing like watching a game with great weather, a cold drink, and a little action on FanDuel Sportsbook. If you've never bet on baseball before, now is the perfect time to give it a shot. FanDuel is letting new users swing for the fences risk-free. Get up to $1,000 back if your first bet doesn't win. Once you have an account, you can get up to $25 back each day if your same-game parlay bet falls one leg short. This way, you can combine multiple baseball bets for an even bigger win. There's a reason FanDuel Sportsbook is America's #1 sportsbook. The app is simple to use. They've got great odds and always-on promotions. And when you win, FanDuel will pay you your winnings in as little as 24 hours. Just download the FanDuel Sportsbook app and sign up with promo code CASH to get in on the action. That's FanDuel Sportsbook, promo code CASH. Must be 21 and over and present in Tennessee. First online real money wager only for risk-free bet. Refund issued as non-withdrawable site credit that expires in 7 days. Restrictions do apply. See sportsbook.fanduel.com for details. Gambling problem? Call Tennessee Redline 1-800-889-9789.
Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
2021 is finally here. Might I suggest we start the wonderful new year with a makeover for your beautiful house. I'm Brian Elder. I'm a roofer. I fix roofs. Don't let them tell you that it has to be replaced when all it may need is some love. 867-0303. Let me love on your roof. I've made quite the reputation over the last decade as the guy to call after the insurance company denies the claim. Overturning a claim that has gone bad is an art form where you argue county code, manufacturer specs, and details of your policy that they have to abide by. So let me see it first. If I say it's a claim, it's a claim. 867-0303. Money is free at Brian Elder Roofing with 0% financing for half a decade. I'll measure your roof from outer space and get you a quote right over the phone. 867-0303 or BrianElderRoofing.com.
Call 867-0303. Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
Welcome back to Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wallo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by DeSoto Auto Sales. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brett Norsworthy.
Wow, this day, this Monday, this championship Monday disappearing right before our very eyes. And we will attempt to look back in time, not too far for Gonzaga, but we will attempt to
look ahead to tonight's starting lineup for Baylor.
Yeah, well, you could do that very easily. I have found five guys. I found 5 different guys not on this team, honestly.
Oh, I couldn't. It was tough finding 2. I have 2 from this team. I've got Gonzaga tonight. I'm going to stay with my pre-tournament prediction, 88-84. If Gonzaga wins, I'm going to hang a banner. Not like Drew's janky old second-place banners that he really didn't win.
Right.
I'm going to hang a banner. If I win tonight, 40-23 on brackets, and I'll take this year, especially with that bloodletting early in the tournament. If Dave, you can't win it. You had Illinois, so you're done at 36-27. Drew can win with Gonzaga tonight and finish in third, 34-29. You putting a banner up for that, Uncle Drew?
Third.
No, not for
you
third.
You put up for third place.
And the banners that I have up are legit. I just want y'all to remember that. They are legit banners.
Oh, well, I'm
SEC
really
preseason picking game-by-game champion, that is legit banner.
Keep telling yourself that.
Yeah, we're all for you, kid. I mean, we're happy for you.
We're with you.
That makes your life something that is fulfilling.
That
for
validates you.
Yeah, exactly. we're there for you.
Man, why are we crushing Drew like this?
And I'm about to hang a new banner for winning the Market Madness from TJ. I've wrapped it up.
That's done?
That's
pretty
really
much.
mine and Dave. That was our input to you. We gave you all the input.
I hate to say this. It was our mojo that rubbed off on you.
Yeah, I mean, we gave you the input on that
but
one.
I made every pick.
We did nothing. We did nothing. We did nothing. You can hang that.
Do we get anything out of that? Is there any prize?
I hope there is a prize. I'm definitely going to ask TJ about it on Wednesday.
Okay, we shall ask him for sure.
All right, who had the microwave for Baylor? Who had Vinnie Johnson?
I did. I have Vinnie Johnson as the best overall player ever in the history of the program.
I so agree.
I got Torian Prince, who played in a bunch of NBA teams. I got him second. Quincy Acey, I love that guy. He was a good player. 2008, He
I
played a
forgot
bunch.
about him.
I
he
like
was
him.
good.
There was a guy who played, Jonathan Motley, just a few years ago. He was a really good college player. I don't think he was an NBA kind of a guy, but Motley was pretty good. There was a guy, Terry Teague, who played in the late 70s. He played with Vinnie Johnson.
It was Teagle, wasn't it?
Teagle, you're right, Terry Teagle. That's exactly
rhymes with Beagle. Yeah. I remember him early 80s.
Yeah.
I saw him at Barnhill.
I actually put him in there, and then I decided, I was going to take him out because you need a point guard. And Pierre Jackson was a good point guard. He was in the 10s, 11s, somewhere in there. He was a pretty good player. Or you could put on Davion Mitchell, or you could put on Jared Butler easily. I had Jared Butler high in my Wooden Award vote. And
you should have. I went positionless. I didn't have a point. I went positionless.
Okay, well that's fine. And anyway, those are my 5-6 guys. There's,
all right.
Vinnie Johnson.
It was
clearly
tough.
The best guy. Yeah.
They have zero history.
Yeah.
This is their shining moment, no doubt tonight. All right, I went microwave Vinnie Johnson. I went Darius Dunn, and then I went 3 currents: Jared Butler, Davion Mitchell, Maceo Teague.
Teague doesn't get enough credit. That dude. Which was
he's CDR.
Which was their closest game? He is a guy. He can shoot, and when he gets hot, look out.
Well, probably Villanova was the closest.
I think that's
Arkansas was at times.
Oh, he was the guy in Arkansas. That was the game he shined in.
Mm-hmm.
Was the Arkansas game? They would not have won that game without him. He was terrific in that game.
All right,
Drew
and Baylor.
Okay, so obviously I went with 3 modern guys, obviously, Butler, Mitchell, and Teague. And then to round out my 4 and 5, I just decided to pick the best player from their 2 previous Final Four teams. So from the 1949 team,
wow.
Starting at the 4 position, James Red Owen. And then your center.
He was only 6'3", too, but he was the 4. Yeah.
Then your center from that team and the 50-team Final Four team, Don Heathington.
Jeez, I don't even know
him.
Oh,
Red Owen and Donnie Heathington.
I never heard of
Heathington. Averaged 13.8 points a game.
Wow.
In 1950.
The Heathington
apparently was
the Heathington family is shocked today that somebody mentioned him.
Yeah, no question. All right, now Gonzaga, which was difficult because there's so many guys. I mean, I can remember.
And we saw it born and bred with Fromm and Santangelo.
I just was going to say, I can remember
saw it.
Santangelo coming to the Mid-South Coliseum. And
that cat didn't even breathe hard. No, that was at the Pyramid, Dave. That was at the Pyramid on an early season tournament.
I could have sworn I saw at least one game with a great player. Maybe it was Richie Fromm. I thought it was Santangelo at the Mid-South
No, Fromm and
Coliseum.
Santangelo were together in that year, and those dudes didn't even breathe hard, and they ran what we thought was going to be a good Tiger team just plumb out of town.
Right. Oh, Monson started it. He was getting Australian guys and Canadian guys, and Mark Few picked up and
spanned the globe.
Yeah,
he really did.
I mean, they've been terrific. You go first this time.
All right, Jalen Suggs. I started there. Corey Kispert, Drew Timme off this team.
Wow.
Then I went. I know the memory of him is not flattering for him, but I went. But 2 we have, the one of him after the UCLA loss, and the one with DeAndre or Sean Williams in his face, and I can't repeat what Sean Williams said to him, but you could hear it clearly from where I was sitting. Adam Morrison, and I'm gonna go with Memphis Grizzly, Brandon Clark.
Wow. I'm not sure. Well, I have Adam Morrison. It's the only guy I have on that. Here's the order I put. I thought Dan Dickow was great. I mean, he was a player that kept them in the limelight. Kelly Olynyk was a great player for them. Domantas Sabonis is now an all-star, and son of the
Arvydas,
the great Arvydas Sabonis.
The great Lithuanian.
Who unfortunately, he didn't get to play in the NBA in his prime. I think he was like Satchel Paige. I think he was 50 by the time.
Yeah, his knees were wrecked when he got here.
Then Adam Morrison. Adam Morrison was a great college player. I still do not understand what in the heck happened to him. I thought he was a can't-miss guy. Same way
he got a ring.
Same way I feel about Suggs. If I were going to put somebody from this year's team on, which I probably should, it would be Suggs. But I got Stockton because you say nobody ever heard of Stockton? Nobody ever heard of Gonzaga until Stockton. That's why I got him in there.
Joe Klein says at the Olympic trials that year that Stockton got cut. He was kind of a reserve. He was like first alternate if anybody got hurt. And that Coach Knight was right in keeping Vern Fleming. He said, and Joe always said, because to play the European teams, you needed long guys that could really guard. And Vern Fleming at that time was a better defensive player than John Stockton. Now, the test of time didn't hold up well for John Stockton versus Vern Fleming.
No, but I could understand that rationale. And Vern Fleming was you looked at his body, he was a tough guy. And I hate to say it, but Stockton, especially when he was a college player, he was a skinny little dude. He looked like his son. Yeah. I wonder where his son is now.
But, also that on that Olympic team, Bobby Knight cut Karl Malone and kept Jeff Turner from Vanderbilt because C.M. Newton was one of the assistants.
That was a big mistake. Wow. That was a big mistake.
Yeah.
Drew, what's your top five?
All right, my starting five for the Zags. At 1, John Stockton, Suggs at 2, Morrison playing the 3, Drew Timme is going to play 4, and Kelly Olynyk is my big man.
That's good. That's a hell of a team.
Remember when Zebo laid out Kelly Olynyk? I thought he killed him.
I do. You know what? Zebo did that to a bunch of folks. I really
did. I thought that man's dead.
When he got kicked out, that was Steven Adams, wasn't it?
Well, that was a good one in the playoffs.
That was.
But there was that picture of he laid out Olynyk and kind of stood over him and just kind of had that wry smile.
I do remember that. He stood over him. It was a little like Ali telling Liston to get up.
Yeah. Or telling Floyd Patterson to learn my name.
Yeah. No, that was Ernie Terrell. Ernie Terrell refused to call him Muhammad Ali. He kept calling him
and he just kept pounding him.
Yeah, and he just said, what's my name? What's my name? Boom, 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 boom. Yeah, I do remember that really well. We got to take a break. When we come back, oh, my goodness, it'll already be crunch time, this portion of our show, brought to you by the commissary. How many, Brett, hams do you think Walker Taylor went through for this Easter? He just loves making it easy for everybody when it comes to Easter or when it comes to Christmas or when it comes to turkey for the Thanksgiving holiday. They sell thousands, literally, of those smoked turkeys. You can go anytime and you can get their turkey. You can get their ham. You can get ribs. Everything on the menu is just terrific. It's always consistent. We love going, and we love going to both locations. The original in the Germantown downtown little quaint area, or the newest one that's so easy to just go right through with the drive-through and so much space inside, and that's at Houston Levy Road and Poplar Avenue. They invented the nachos that everybody in the world now has. It started with Walker Taylor and that crew, and I still think they're the best nachos going. I love the cheese plate. I love the tamales. There isn't anything I don't love at the commissary. And again, it's so easy to pick up and take home tonight to watch the national championship game. Why cook when Walker Taylor and everybody else can do it at the commissary? So go check it out and end your night with either the banana pudding or the icebox lemon pie. You just can't beat either of the commissaries. Back in a minute with Crunch Time on Sports Time on Sports 56.
Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy get you through lunch daily from 10 to 1.
Well, lunch is served.
Only on Sports 56, 98.5 FM and 96.1 FM.
If you're going on vacation, making a college campus visit, or if business takes you out of town, there's just no better place to board your dog than Barks and Recreation, 965 Ruddock Cove between Bud Davis Cadillac and the Blue Plate Cafe in East Memphis. Boarding, daycare, grooming, we have the best of everything at Barks. Indoor-outdoor kennels so your family member can go in and out as they please. Indoor and outdoor play areas. 4 walks a day, group play, and individual attention from the best staff in the Mid-South, which includes an overnight staff to ensure the safety and comfort of your pet 24 hours a day. All reasons to choose Barks and Recreation above all other boarding and daycare facilities. BarksDaycare.com or 509-0909. Check us out and make your reservations now at BarksDaycare.com. If your dog could speak, he'd say Barks.
Hi, this is Troy 5-Ash, owner of 5-Ash Roof Services. You've heard me talk about how we offer the best products, the best warranties, and the best services for years. Now let's talk about pricing. Pricing should never be the only reason you hire a contractor, but in today's world, pricing is always a consideration. So we suggest you get 2 or 3 estimates for your roof replacement from a reputable, licensed, and insured company, and then give us a call. If we can't beat your best price for a comparable roof system by more than $100, we'll give you $100. It's that simple. We are so sure we can offer you the best price, beating all other qualified companies. We will hand you $100 if we can't, and thank you for the opportunity. So give us a call. What's the worst thing that's going to happen? Make $100? 5-Ash Roof Services, a proud supporter of Tiger Athletics and the official roofer of the Tigers home team. 5-Ash Roof Services, fair, honest, and ethical. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com.
5-Ash Roofing, it's what we do. We're here for you.
Mid-South Hobbies has your favorite model airplanes, boats, race cars, and trains to build. With brands you know like Lionel, LGB, and a large selection of Traxxas radio-controlled trucks, cars, and boats. Mid-South Hobbies has all the accessories to make them complete, with thousands of paint colors to make them shine. Reach the sky with rockets and kites, or reach deep into your imagination with action figures, comic book superheroes, and fantasy quest games. Get passionate about your hobby at Mid-South Hobbies, 4862 Summer Avenue.
Welcome back to Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wallo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by DeSoto Auto Sales. Here once again are Dave Voloshin and Brad Norsworthy.
Come on, Muhammad, then we hit fame. We beat you with the deal, we get in fame.
Welcome back in. Final portion of our show, and it's brought to you by my good buddy Sheldon Rosengarten, Mark Spensdorf. When you want the job done, you're going to call Sheldon. That is a for sure. He and Kelly Erb have been selling houses basically as soon as I mentioned them on the air. They had one in Midtown, was listed on a Monday. It sold on a Saturday with 2 offers. This time now they got 2 in East Memphis coming in the next few weeks. They are just fantastic. So if you would like your house to be mentioned on this radio show, call my guy. Or, look, he says, talk to 2 or 3 real estate brokers. Just make sure Sheldon and Kelly Erb are in the loop. Their experience, the strategic marketing program, it sets them apart from all the other brokers. Reach them again at 483-0546 or memphisrelocate.com. That is memphisrelocate.com, or this simple number to reach Sheldon is 483-0546. It's officially crunch time.
Go crazy, folks! Go crazy!
This is for all the biggest crunch time.
You are looking live. In your life have you seen anything like that?
Boop! Get you!
What's happening, big dog? How you doing?
It's obviously crunch time.
Hammer, nail, coffin, this baby is over.
On 1, on 2, on 3. Hey!
Time for Taco Bell Crunch Time. Taco Bell, home of the crispy tortilla chips, topped with a double portion of either seasoned beef or shredded chicken, plus refried beans, nacho cheese sauce, reduced fat sour cream, guacamole, and a 3-cheese blend. Nachos Bel Grande, heaping portion of chips, topped with ground beef, tomatoes, beans, nacho cheese sauce, and a dollop of sour cream. Taco Bell, home to great food you get on your way home real fast, and they bring you crunch time every day.
Dave learned today that Major League Baseball, they have every right to do what they're doing with the All-Star Game over what the Georgia legislature, elected by the good people of Georgia, to almost 60% majorities in both the upper and lower chamber of the Georgia State House, but also the PGA Tour. They have every right to do what they're doing. The public, it will decide. Rob Manfred or Jay Monahan will look real good or real bad. Who's looked real good in the past between those two? If either one of them were a pilot, who would you want being the pilot? Bobby Manfred or Jay Monahan?
Give me Jay, baby. Rob
Anytime.
would go down in flames. I would be worried. I learned today that the odds makers really do like Gonzaga tonight. Not only are they 4.5-point favorites, they're minus 190 on the money line. And just for the NCAA tournament MOP, which, always goes with the winner, the odds-on favorite for that, I'm a little surprised. It's Drew Timme. He is at even odds.
Really? Over Suggs.
Over Suggs, who's 11 to 10, so just barely.
The last time on a defeated team, Akeem Olajuwon in '83 at Albuquerque. I mean, what they couldn't wait to the end of the game and pass out the ballots and give it to Lorenzo Charles for the stick back?
That was crazy. You're right. By the way, the next are Davion Mitchell at 5-1 and Jared Butler at 6-1. So those are the top four, and the top two are clearly big-time favorites in Timme and Suggs.
I think we got a classic tonight. I hope so. Could have done without the hit job by some with zero attribution on Scott Drew here in Memphis in the spring of 2009. Maybe this 12 years of Tiger basketball really kind of out in the wilderness could have been averted while Scott Drew built Baylor with zero scandal around his program when they had all kind of scandal around Baylor. That hit job done on him was awful years ago.
That is true. I mean, they got scared, and they could have had Scott Drew. There's no question about it. And you're right. There's not a blemish at this point on him at all. And that can't be said for a bunch of other coaches with FBI wiretaps on them. And nothing like that on Scott Drew. That is an excellent point. I guess I could have done without Ryan Day's comments because he was trying like the Dickens to defend his quarterback, Justin Fields, who got in a bad report by an NFL scout for being kind of lazy, not a very good work ethic, didn't love the game. And in defending him, he basically says, this kid loves football. He was the one that refused to not play. He petitioned the Big Ten and all those other guys who were opting out. You don't love the game if you're doing something like that. So he took shots at every kid that opted out this year because of fears of COVID-19.
Keeping a close eye tonight on a lot. One shining moment for Baylor or Gonzaga. One of them will join Maryland, Syracuse, Florida, and Virginia as 21st century first-time winners. Baylor and Gonzaga for the title. Not the normal night off for the NBA for the college national championship game because they've got to get games in, so a lot of out-of-town scoreboard watching for the Grizzlies. Undefeated Houston Astros at the Big A in Anaheim tonight, and starting tonight and all week, live from the Masters on Golf Channel.
Do you think anybody's really going to be watching a bunch of baseball tonight? Well, they might because the game starts at 8:20, so it's a late start. You might get some baseball early.
It is a late start.
Yeah. It's the latest. I can't remember ever seeing as late a start as this one is. So crazy. We got to thank great folks. Great to hear our friend Ted Butler back in the fold. I love chatting with him, and he really is high on Justin Thomas. David Cobb from CBS, great job. He's picked Baylor tonight. Andy Schiffman on the NBA, but he knows his college basketball for sure. He picked Baylor tonight, and then Blake Lovell too. And he was kind of waffling there, but I think he kind of liked Baylor. It's going to be a great game. It's going to be a classic. Please enjoy, and we'll meet you here again tomorrow. Have a great night, everyone.
Action247.com is your Tennessee sports book.